high above the main straightaway here in Las Vegas, looking very far down on the racetrack below us. And Chris Wheeler is with me. He'll be back in the booth here in just a moment. An absolutely awesome start to the day of racing here earlier this morning with Heat Race Round 1 wrapping up just a little while ago. Everybody enjoyed a nice long lunch break, and now you can see it. Karts making their way out onto the track. This is the start of round number 2 of Heat Race action here at ROK Vegas. Orsalon Racing brings you VLR Masters Heat Race number 2. Martin Stone traded the top spot with Ben Cooper early and then again late in this category earlier this morning. Ben Cooper was your pole sitter after qualifying on the top spot last afternoon, or yesterday afternoon is how I think people whose native language is English say it. Ben Cooper got the pole in qualifying yesterday, and he finished second in Heat Race number 2. So these are progressive heats for all categories with the exception of VLR Senior and VLR Master, because the class size is so big, they've decided to split those classes into an A, B, C, and D category. Those heats are not progressive. Everybody will race against each group at least or at most once during the 3 rounds of heat races today. So Stone and Cooper, your front row. Renato David in third. Sean Owens in fourth. Dan Jones and Matthew Ostagai in row number 3. Tim Meyer and Paul Elefante, as well as Admar Calagaro and Ryan Molina round out the top 10. Quinones, Dalbon, Daly, Kozak, and Randy Rogers, your top 15. Rami Angel with Scott Falcone start 16th and 17th. And the field makes their way onto the front straightaway. The lights go out, and Martin Stone does a very good job. One driver at the back does not do as good of a job. They go for a complete 360 and back into the outside retaining barriers. A couple other karts collected in the melee off the start, but everybody gets it rolling. Oh, man, another incident there on the exit of turn number 3 heading down into the infield. So the intensity is already picked up here in VLR Masters as drivers involved in a separate pair of different incidences, all in the first 4 corners of the opening lap here in the Orsalon Racing VLR Masters category. Again, Martin Stone got the heat race victory in round 1 earlier this morning, so he led the field to the green flag aboard that 701, but as you can see on your monitors, that is not the driver who will lead them across the start-finish line. Popping out to try to challenge for that race lead is the pole sitter of Martin Stone. Stone followed Renato David across the line. Renato did, in fact, get credit for leading that first lap, but it's Martin Stone, the pole sitter and Heat Race 1 winner, pulling out to the inside down the end of the front straightaway and reclaiming that top spot. So Martin Stone out in front, right behind him. That looks to be RPG teammate, the number 731 pole sitter from qualifying. Quickest in time trials yesterday afternoon. That's Ben Cooper. Got a chance to talk to Ben yesterday right after he wrapped up. Quick time honors in qualifying. Cool shot right there of that very, very late braking turn number 10 at the end of the back straightaway. That's what I think is going to be really your last prime passing opportunity. Martin Stone and Ben Cooper hooking up and working together to open up about a half of a second lead from the 2 top kart drivers. They're in RPGs, but they're the top of the leaderboard, and they have about a half of a second advantage over third place Renato David. Remember, David started this race, rolled off the grid in the 3rd position, but was able to take over the top spot off the start, led the first lap, and then has given away since to Martin Stone. So Ben Cooper, the Brit, living in Canada for quite some time now, has done so much in the realm of international karting, North American karting, and was honestly surprised and pleasantly surprised, I might add, to see him here this weekend racing in VLR Masters. Very talented group of drivers. It feels like in every field we have here, but VLR Masters certainly no different. Ben Cooper, Sean Owens, and I'm just reading off some guys' names that I remember from when I was in karting full time. Scott Falcone, another proud Coloradoan. He did not have the heat race number 1 that he would have liked. He fell quite a ways back and rolled off in the 15th, or checked out the 17th position for this second heat race. He's already picked up 2 spots and has scored in 15th, but there's going to be a lot of time for racing here in Heat 2, and once these guys are done here today, they'll still have another round of heat races tomorrow morning to set the grid for our pre-finals late in the afternoon on Saturday. How you run in those pre-finals? Well, that's how you roll off for the main event, the finals on Sunday. Ben Cooper leans down, makes a quick adjustment to the carburetor, possibly leaning it out just a little bit. Maybe wants just a tiny bit more horsepower, a little bit more speed at the end of the straightaways, or possibly richening it up perhaps, and doesn't like what he's getting at the end of the long straightaways here. Regardless, whatever he did to the carburetor, he's going to continue to keep his eyes set forward as he tries to reel in Martin Stone. Ben takes a look over his right shoulder and sees that he's got a healthy margin. Nearly, actually it's over now, a full second. It's over a full second back to Renato David. And you got Dan Jones and Sean Owens in the 5th position. No freight trains on the track right now. There is a freight train rolling by, parallel to I-15. There you see it in the background for just a moment. And, boy, Martin Stone and Ben Cooper just dancing on kind of a knife's edge right now, pushing each other as hard as they can to go faster and faster. Ben Cooper, quickest on the track overall, last time by 47.243. The driver chasing down race leader Martin Stone, setting the quickest lap on the track. Back on lap number 5 here. We worked the 6th trip around. All of these categories, with the exception of micro and mini, every race you'll see today is 8 minutes plus 2 laps. Micro and mini are 6 minutes plus 2 laps. And despite how fast Martin Stone and Ben Cooper are, they're not really growing their lead over 3rd place David or Dan Jones or Sean Owens, the rest of the top 5, really as quick as I would have expected. David doing a really good job at laying down fast laps. He goes purple that time by 47.242. Oh, but look how close the top times are. 47.242 for 3rd place driver David. 47.243, 1/1000th of a second difference in fast laps for David to Ben Cooper. David's quick lap of .242, Cooper's fastest lap of .243. It's a very tight field of drivers here. Lots of talent from front to back here in Orsalon Racing VLR Masters. Stone knows that he's getting down to the end of this one here. Ben Cooper trying to find a way around. And David has actually eaten into the lead here after his 2nd purple lap. David, again, quickest driver on the track, 47.225. Cooper pulled out for a moment there just to take a look. He's not close enough to make something happen in the infield. We've seen lots of drivers make hay in turn number 3 before they come into the infield. Zachary Clayman DeMello picked up 3 passes over the span of probably 5 or 6 laps, all in turn number 3. That's another great passing opportunity right there. The final hairpin. That is corner number 10. 3/4 of a mile is the distance from start to finish on a lap here. And there you see the countdown clock at the top of your monitor, 1.5 minutes and just a little bit more than 1.5 minutes to go. Cooper, now your quickest driver on track, 47.200. That cuts the lead down to less than 1/10 of a second behind Martin Stone. They'll roll through the infield. David in 3rd, Owens 4th, Dan Jones, Tim Meyer top 5, Osterguy 7th, Tim Meyer 6th, Elefante 8th, Miguel Meyer and Evan Kozak, the top 10. And now you know Martin Stone is wary of the laps remaining in this race. He took a look over his right shoulder, and Ben Cooper's not going anywhere. He is stuck to Martin Stone here. They'll come across the line, 54, 53 seconds at the line, and lapping at 47.248. It's gonna be very, very close here as to whether or not these drivers, the leaders, come around and see the 2 to go, or if race control is going to let them get this lap plus 1 more before they see the stick. So they try to time it as close as they can to the clock expiring, and an additional 2 laps the next time they come around after the clock has expired. This is going to be probably pretty safe. I think they're gonna see the sticks this time by with 20 seconds to go and 3 corners left. I shouldn't guess on the math though. Every time I'm usually wrong. Ben Cooper, your fastest card out on the track, 10 seconds remaining on the clock, and they're going to beat it across the line. What does race control show them here? It is 2 to go. So that is the last 2 laps underway right here, right now. Martin Stone's been pretty solid through this one, but Ben Cooper has hung tight, and he's the quickest card on track, 47.200. Last time, though, Martin Stone was just a little tiny bit quicker. The last lap was a 47.37 for Stone, a 47.39 for Ben Cooper in the second position. So 2/100ths of a second benefits Martin Stone. And if you want to keep the guy behind you, you got to run a little bit faster than him every time across the start-finish line. They'll come through turn number 10, and if my eyes were right that last time by when they saw the sticks, there should be the white flag waving in the air, and in fact it is. 1 lap to go. Martin Stone knows that if he can stay out in front, he'll have the pole position for the third and final heat race tomorrow morning. This will be the first class back on track when we return. Ben Cooper's got something to say about it. He held, and then he pops out turn number 3, a spot we've seen so much good racing. The 7:01 of Martin Stone now behind Ben Cooper's number 731, and this has opened the door for David. David in third, now as close as he can get to the back bumper of the 701. Long race leader Martin Stone now trying to do everything he can to reel in Ben Cooper and have one shot at it here in turn number 10. Stone takes a look to the inside, but it's not close enough. They'll unwind the steering wheel, roll through 11, and out of 12, Ben Cooper, a masterclass in patience. He waited, and he was rewarded after making a very well-timed and even better executed pass. Ben Cooper scores the win in VLR Masters, brought to you by Orsilon Racing. A little bit of a return to dominance for Ben Cooper after picking up the pole position in qualifying and then getting bested by Martin Stone. This is back to where Ben Cooper thinks he should be at the top of the field here. Stone comes in second. Renato David ends up in third. Sean Owens out of the Dallas Karting Complex runs fourth, with Dan Jones completing the top 5. Tim Meyer, Matthew Ostagai, and Paul Elefanti are 6th, 7th, and 8th. Miguel Meyer and Scott Falcone, the top 10. Good rebound for Scott Falcone, +7 after rolling from 17th on the grid. Kyle Hayner was 11th, Dalbon 12th, Randy Rogers and Evan Kozak with Joshua Daly, your top 15. Folks, we're going to step aside really quick here, do a little bit of station identification, and when we come back, we will be ready to go with heat race number 2 in round number 2. It'll be Velocity and Sodi bringing you live coverage of ROK Micro coming up next. So we're back after, I lied, that wasn't really station identification. I just needed to sort some stuff out in here, and we are ready to go with our next heat race. Round number 2, remember, all these classes are progressive, so where they finished in heat 1 is where they will start in heat number 2. Same on and same on for heat number 3 tomorrow morning. We're going to do that for everybody with the exception of VLR Senior and VLR Junior, because those classes are split fields. They'll do A, B, C, and D racing throughout the weekend, and there's going to be some fancy magic that goes on into determining who starts where in the pre-final, and that's awful technical, so we're gonna explain that a little bit later on. There's Ashley Graff walking down the grid, getting ready to get some hashtag content. Oh, yes, that's right, Ashley. We see you, the content creator for ROK Cup USA. That's a very, very nice camera, very expensive piece of machinery, and she's been getting some awesome shots for us here this weekend. If you've seen the bumpers, the opening and the closings that we play sometimes when we go off air for a moment, those are a lot of Ashley Graff's shots, and she's done just an awesome job this year with social media and bringing us content. So Velocity and Sodi Kart bring you live coverage of ROK Micro here in heat race number 2. Iker Alvarez with Win Godshock will share row number 1. And Chris Wheeler talked about this a little while ago. These are the youngest drivers here racing with us this weekend at ROK Vegas. But don't let their age fool you. These are easily some of the most focused competitors we have out here, and it's always a lot of fun to watch them battle because not only are these low horsepower karts and lightweight machines very susceptible to staying in big packs and long freight trains, the drivers just are always doing their best to make passes and be aggressive. That's kind of the nature of a young racer. They're ready to get after it every single chance they can, and that's what lends them this class to such entertaining and exciting racing. So we're glad you're with us watching live on YouTube. And look at that. You didn't have to spend a dime. Free 50. That is what you had to pull out of your pocket to watch the racing here today. Iker Alvarez and Win Gottschalk will make up row number 1. Santiago Orioli and Lawrence Perriman share row number 2. Alvaro Medeiros starts in the 5th position with George Ho lining up in P6. 7th is Ko Saito with Dutch Westbrook in 8th. Mauro Nairo starts 9th with Aiden Go. That's like the perfect last name for racing go-karts, right? Aiden Go starts in the 10th position. Nico Salazar will roll 11th with Liam Francisco next to him in 12th. Jack Katowski starts 13th with Mason Brody, and Zev Gottschalk rounding out the top 15 here in Velocity and Sodi ROK Micro Heat Race number 2. Grid stewardess Angela moves out of the way, gives the drivers the signal to take to the track, and this is Heat Race number 2 for Velocity and Sodi ROK Micro. Talk to you about the top 15. The rest of the field looks like this. Brody Brown starts 16th. Samuel Chaveri starts 17th. Kylie Johnson 18th. Luca Beckrell in 19th with Ethan Torres in 20th. IX Garduno starts 21st. Leonardo Ramirez 22nd. Brody Stoffel, Tristan Francisco, Mick Kwong, and Zane Burgess are the 26-car starting field, as this is the second heat race of the weekend for ROK Micro. So Iker Alvarez, Win Gottschalk, Santiago Orioli, and Lawrence Perriman put on a really good race this morning for heat race number 1. I suspect we'll see more of the same. 6 minutes plus 2 laps is the distance for our micro and mini categories. 8 minutes for the seniors, juniors, and masters aged drivers. Yellow flags getting shown to these young drivers. This was the fastest they came out of that turn 4. Ryan Egan. Ryan jumps over the barriers to get out of the way, and the lights go out. We go racing. Great start there for Iker Alvarez as yellow flags are waving. One driver around. Didn't get a great look at the number there. I thought it had a 5 on the back of it, but let's just wait for timing and scoring to circulate, and we'll let you know for sure who that driver was. Everybody did a good job avoiding the stalled cart sitting in the middle of that short chute between 1 and 2. And we're off and running here. Well, a little bit of contact right there as the 28 of Lawrence Perriman took a look on the inside of Orioli for that second position on track. They're all chasing Iker Alvarez down the back straightaway through turn 10, and they'll make their run through the final 2 corners to complete the first lap here in Velocity and Sodi ROK Micro Heat Race number 2. Alvarez started the race out in the top spot after getting the pole position by virtue of winning Heat Race number 1, and it looks like that might have been perhaps Kylie Johnson, the driver that was involved, or no, maybe Jack Katowski. Yeah, it was Katowski who was caught up on the opening lap incident on the run from turn 1 up to turn number 2. So Katowski in that 92, I think, was the driver that we saw facing the wrong direction and able to rejoin the field. Yeah, with that lap time of a minute 4.049, that would make a little bit of sense there after having the incident at the start of heat race number 2. Santiago Orioli trying to apply pressure whenever and however to pole sitter and early race leader Iker Alvarez coming down the main straightaway here. And already you start to see a little bit of delineation between the top 2. There you see them come out of turn 2, battle for, what would that be, 4th position, the 25 perhaps, I believe. Is that Win Gottschalk trying to make a move? Going to refresh timing and scoring here and make sure we know exactly where everybody is on track. Yeah, Win Gottschalk, Alvaro Medeiros, apologies, in that 4th position at the line last time by. But you already see the top 2 of Alvarez and Orioli with a little bit of a gap. Let's call it just under half of a second from 1st and 2nd back to 3rd. And that 3rd place driver is Lawrence Perriman in the number 28. Let's see if that lead has shrunk at all at the line here. Goes from .494. That stays pretty even. the 28 is right there in the middle, chasing Alvarez and Orioli, the two leaders, but also knows that not too far behind has pressure in that 4th and 5th spot. So Perriman kind of on an island right now. Medeiros in 4th, Gottschalk in 5th, Dutch Westbrook 6th, Saito in 7th, George Ho, Nico Salazar, and Aiden Go. The rest of the top 10 here. Perriman on an island, wants to get away and go after race leaders Alvarez and Orioli here. And Orioli, we've seen a lot of aggression out of that young driver, tamed aggression, no harm, no foul. But Orioli has definitely shown that when there's an opening for a pass, be it small or be it large, Santiago will try to find his way around, and that's what makes this micro category so fun and so entertaining to watch. Right there, still just about a half of a second separate that 1st and 2nd place pack to 3rd place Lawrence Perriman. And it's fun. You watch these drivers hit their marks and do their best and complete clean laps out on track. And you look at the timing and scoring monitor. You see, was there a change? Did the lead grow? Did the lead shrink? How was their lap time? And at 12 corners and under a mile long, these laps go by very quickly. And there are a few hairpins. You have really good late-breaking passing opportunities here. But this track at ROK Vegas is also made up of some very fast, long corners that you can carry speed, plenty of speed through in these single-speed category karts. So momentum, as always in karting, especially single-speed karting, momentum is the name of the game. And that's where Orioli's in such a unique spot, right? Because Santiago sits in 2nd right now, and he wants to get very aggressive, and he wants to dive down to the inside, stomp on the brakes, try to beat Alvarez to the apex, grab that lead, and then drive away. But it just doesn't work in these single-speed micro karts. It doesn't work like that really in any form of single-speed karting. There's no gear to grab. Once you stomp on the brakes and kill all your RPM and take any bottom end you had out of these things, it takes a while to build it back up. Orioli says, well, don't worry, I'll keep my RPMs up and take the race lead. Orioli down at the bottom of the corner in turn number 10, new race leader. Orioli takes the top spot. Santiago Orioli says, yeah, Tony, I agree with you. You can't give up all your bottom end. You can't give away a whole bunch of speed and pace. So you got to keep it wound up and get the pass done. And that's exactly what the young driver, the number 16, does. Iker Alvarez, always impressed when a young driver can be passed, especially for a position as important as the lead, and keep their wits about them. That's exactly what Alvarez does. Alvarez has pressure from right behind in the form of Lawrence Perriman. And with 20 seconds to go on the clock, I do not believe these drivers will beat the clock back to the start-finish line. So you should be seeing the 2 to go being shown to our leaders in the Velocity and Sodi Kart ROK Micro. Main event 6-5, 4-3, and 2 to go. Clock times out almost perfectly right there. So now Orioli gives way to Alvarez. Alvarez gets back at the end of the front straightaway, and there's been a 2-kart swing as Orioli will go from 1st to 3rd, and it's the 28 of Perriman. Perriman gets up into the 2nd position. Orioli goes from 1st back to 3rd after that opening complex of corners with 2 to go. Boy, this is intense right now for Iker Alvarez. Alvarez led him to the green flag. Has been up front most of this race. Orioli, good move right there on the run through turn number 9. And then it's a back straightaway with a kink in it before they head for turn number 10. Chris Wheeler and I worked extensively on knowing what 2 to go and 1 to go means. I know they've seen 2 to go, so they are not coming to the checkered flag. They're coming. Are they showing them the 2 to go? No, there we go, the white flag. So sorry that leaderboard covers up our chief starter there for just a moment. But in fact, do see the white flag displayed. So now this is the final lap. I've got it figured out now. I know this means the next time they come to the start-finish line, that's when the winner will be decided, and the rest of these finishing positions will be determined. Boy, look at Iker Alvarez and the lead he has opened up over Orioli. It's a combination of Alvarez running a really good lap, but it's also thanks to Orioli and Perriman racing each other. And you just slow down when you're battling 1, 2, or more karts around you. Perriman's going to try and make something happen here, going through turn number 10. Awesome shot right there as the leaders make their way out of the final hairpin for the final time here in heat race number 2. Checkered flag waves, And it's going to be Iker Alvarez starting up front and finishing up front in Velocity and Sodicart ROK Micro Heat Race number 2. So Alvarez perfect through 2 rounds of heat races here this weekend in Las Vegas. Alvarez will lead the field. One driver very upset, pounds the steering wheel. Maybe his DVR deleted something he really wanted to watch. I don't know. But Alvarez goes back-to-back in heat race victories with Orioli in second. There's a live look at your race winner. Alvarez will head to the barn. Done racing here today. Alvarez, your winner. Orioli in second. Perriman third with Win Gottschalk and Mauro Nario. The top 5, George Ho and Aiden Go, 6th and 7th. That's like a rhyme or something. We might be rapping out here, and we don't even know it. Zane Burgess in 8th. Ethan Torres 9th. And Zev Gottschalk, I believe, climbed the ladder in finishing 10th. Where did Gottschalk start this race? Zev rolled off 15th. So +5 for Zev Gottschalk. Pretty impressive there. Luca Beckrell 11th. IX Garduno 12th. Samuel Chaveri 13th. Liam Francisco and Mason Brody, your top 15 here in heat race number 2 for Velocity and Sodicart ROK Micro. They are done for the day. But we're not. That's the best news. ROK Shifter Masters next on track. And we saw an interesting trend begin in the first round of heat races. Chris told me I think it takes 3 to make a trend, so this will be the tiebreaker. This will be the determining race. But in both ROK Shifter Master and ROK Shifter Pro, ROK Shifter Senior, you saw the off-pole starter, the driver on the outside of the front row, get the whole shot and lead the way through the opening couple of corners. So this will be interesting here in heat race number 2 for ROK Shifter Masters. Will that trend continue? It's Brian Keck on the inside, and again, just like in heat race number 1, no change there to the front row. Keck was your pole sitter after qualifying on pole. Keck will lead them to the green flag after winning heat 1. It's Jonathan Vitolo, the off-pole starter. Can he go back-to-back? Look at Chuck Yoder up there in that scissor lift. He's our race director. No, don't pan away from Chuck. We want to see him. There we go. There he is. Chuck Yoder, he never met a camera he didn't want to be in front of. I'll tell you that right now. It's a good, it's not only a talented, but it's a good-looking staff here. Yeah, Chuck, we still see you. It's a talented staff here at ROK Cup USA events in 2024. I was so fortunate to get to come out to Florida and work the winter tour for ROK Cup this season. That was a lot of fun after being involved in the Florida winter tour back in 2015 and 2016, and to get to come back out here, and it just feels like that annual pilgrimage to come to Las Vegas late October, early November, and be out here for the fall. It just feels kind of normal when you've been in karting for quite some time. So the barriers are placed. There's Ryan Egan. He's got the green flag. He can hear us. He's almost gotten hit a few times. I'm just going to be real with you right now. I'm keeping it Rizal, and it'd be sus if he got hit. He says, I don't know about that. Ashley Graff now center stage as, there, the smile went away. No, not happy about that now. The content creator becomes created content. And we got a full infield of hardworking folks. Not just in the infield. Becca just hooked me up with starting grids. And she said she wasn't, but she did. Becca, you're awesome. No problem. Thank you. Thank you for your service. We got our corner workers as we clean up a little bit of leftover action, let's call it, on the track here. And look at that, the live look at the skyline. There's traffic on I-15. Hey, there's going to be traffic on this track a little bit later on because drivers are eager to find out where they will start heat race number 3 tomorrow morning. That Ferris wheel is too tall back there. That Ferris wheel is wildly too tall. Good looking shot here of the long traffic jam. Hey, I told you there was traffic on I-15. There's traffic here in the scale line. As those are our ROK Micro drivers. I'm guessing this is a live look. This is, if you were Jason Larea, this is what you would see. If you were Jason Larea, this is your viewpoint. This is POV Jason Larea right now as we walk around and get a look at the youngest drivers at ROK Vegas here, getting ready to roll across the scales and make sure they are legal weight, driver, cart, and all safety equipment. Everybody's got a different minimum weight they must meet for class. As there you go, the front part of the field making their way. Iker Alvarez, 44. That's a look at the number 55 of Zane Burgess. And we go from the scale line to the grid as ROK Shifter Master makes their way out onto track next. So we told you about the front row, Brian Keck and Jonathan Vitolo. Vitolo nailed the lights on the first heat race start. Vitolo jumped out to an early race lead, but Brian Keck got around him not too much later and then just hammered out really, really fast laps and drove to an impressive victory in heat race number 1. He and Vitolo share the front row. Danilo Ramallo will start third with Travis Irving in that 4th position. Ryan Yap completes top 5 with Bud Grossenbacher in 6th position. Patrick O'Neill will start 7th with Hunter Hagenbuch in the 8th spot. Walker Lytell will roll 9th with Sergio Rodriguez in the 10th position. Brian Devert, Jordan Musser. Wow, Musser's going to have some work to do after, I think it was an opening lap or a second lap incident in heat race number 1, relegated him pretty far back in the pack. Devert and Musser share row 6. Quinones and Rivera are row 7th. And Jose Montalto in the 580 will, if Jose Montalto made the call to the grid, Montalto would start on the inside of row 8 in the 15th position. The red flag being displayed, showing all the drivers where to come to a stop. And Chris Wheeler, what do you know?
Well, I want to apologize for the delay there, Tony. I was
no apologies needed.
Was really enjoying that international buffet we had at lunch, and
yeah,
I just couldn't get away.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's nice to eat well out on the road, that's for sure.
They pay us here with diet waters and a bag of smiles, so I was really pleased with that international buffet.
Diet waters and a bag of smiles. Brian Keck and Jonathan Vitolo. Can Vitolo go back-to-back and off-pole starting position hole shots?
3 times now.
Yep.
3 for 3 left lane is where you want to be.
I think that's the case. Maybe we'll start to see lane choice becoming a thing, like in sprint car or NASCAR Cup racing. Leader gets to decide where they restart. Maybe a choose cone will find its way into karting.
Hey.
I don't know. We'll have to talk to Mike Burrell and Robbie Poupart about that. But Brian Keck will now once again do what he had to do in heat race number 1, and that is go to work, reel in Jonathan Vitolo, and then once we saw him catch Vitolo in heat race number 1, Chris, man, he hammered out some really great laps and drove away to an impressive victory in heat 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I think this one's going to play out in the same way as it did before. It's not like the last one was, covered with a blanket. Once Keck got clear and clean air, once the tires came up, he was checked out. So, don't sell it short, right? 14 carts in the field, and Musser's already up 3-7.
Yeah.
Right, so Musser belongs up front. We expect to see him back up there with this progressive heat race format by the time we go finals racing.
Yes.
Later in the weekend.
Yes.
So still a lot at stake here for these drivers in ROK Shifter Masters heat race number 2.
Well, and I think ultimately, and I don't want to downplay the significance of these heat races, Chris, but it's kind of like a dash in sprint car racing. Every chance you get out onto the track gives you one more chance to prepare your car for the final and get it a little bit better. Here we go, battle for the lead. Brian Keck says, I'm not worried about getting my kart set up better. I'm just worried about winning this heat race. Vitolo showed him the door that time and keeps him back in second. But I think it's also fair to say that some of these guys are also treating these heat races as also opportunities to improve the handling, find out a little bit more about the setup, so when they get to those really long finals, it's going to come down to what you know about your go-kart.
And even think about it, ambient temperature about 12 degrees warmer now than it was in their first heat race. This track has been in the sun all day long. Track temp reaching about early or low to mid 90s at this point, Tony. So a totally different racetrack than what we saw this morning with their first heat race. A lot of this Levanto rubber has been laid down, and so completely, it's not a wholesale change, different racetrack as you see. Vitolo gets a little out of it there, but here comes Ramallo.
Oh no! Ramallo and Keck get together.
Ramallo just tried to blow through a door that wasn't there.
It's hard to blow through a door that isn't there.
Clearly, this guy's definitely not a SWAT team member.
A lot of people might think it's a bad idea to blow through a door that's closed. but there wasn't even a door there.
It wasn't there.
According to you. No, I agree with you, and ambient temperature sitting right now at about 69 degrees. Nice. As these shifter masters make their way around the track. But that changes this pretty monumentally.
Well, not only does it change it, but don't look now. Musser, purple.
And up to fourth.
Yeah.
Wow, so that incident with Brian Keck and Romalo, that takes what we kind of both agreed on was probably at least a first, at worst a second battle for Keck. Now he's out of the top 5 altogether.
And now Musser muscles his way up into the 3rd spot with a great move over there in turn number 3. I set on, is that Grossenbacher, who's in 2nd right now.
Yeah, Bud Grossenbacher.
Yeah.
Look at this. When Brian Keck goes down the straightaway, I think he's having the old. Oh, okay. So I don't know if he pushed it down, but we had the old hood,
the fairing up,
slamming back on the windshield. He had the driver's fairing popping up. Yeah, you can see it's totally knocked out askew. Hashtag Oliver. And now he's got it pushed out of the way where it won't be popping up, flying in his face. But not the heat race.
And Keck's not out of this thing. Look,
no.
He's 5th.
Yeah.
Right, so it's not like, Romalo, he's done. He's last 3.5 seconds off the next cart in front of him, which is Sergio Rodriguez in 13th. So, yeah, it's unfortunate for Keck, but way worse for Danilo Romalo here.
Look at this, Jordan Musser in the 516 all over the back of the 581 of Bud Grossenbacher. Jordan Musser, so good. I believe he started his first heat race in the 4th position, but had an incident early. Musser will pull out, nope, tuck back in, thinks better of it, as the driver from Texas is trying to go +1 more and get to that 2nd position. And if Musser can do it quickly here, Chris, I think anything could happen. Musser just may be able to run down Vitolo, but of course these laps are clicking off quickly. Time is running out. And if Musser has a chance at this heat race win in tomorrow's heat race number 3 pole, he has to dispose of Grossenbacher very quickly here.
So as we look for the clock, 3 minutes now remaining in heat race number 2 action here for ROK Shifter Masters. And Jonathan Vitolo rolling out front, 2-second advantage. Here comes Musser though, big move. He pulled out early. Off of 12, peeked back in line though. Might have popped a little too soon there.
Yeah, timing is always so important. When you try to set up these passes here. Now he's going to look again in turn number 3, and Grossenbacher says no soup for you. Musser must stay in line in that 3rd position, and stacking up behind Musser now 4th and 5th. That's Ryan Yop and Brian Keck. Keck driving a wounded machine right now. You imagine with this speed it's only cosmetic damage, as he's going to try and find his way around Ryan Yop. No opportunities as of yet. 2.5 minutes to go in this race, plus 2 laps. Oh, there we go. Keck took a look to the inside in turn number 10. Couldn't make it happen, but so close.
But Musser did. Musser now to P2. Clean air now on the front of that 516 machine.
There goes Keck to the inside of turn number 1. So Musser got him at the end of the lap. Keck gets him at the start of the next. Move Musser up to 2nd. Move Keck up to 4th. Grossenbacher and Yop trying to just keep everything out in front of them best they can. But as quick as the 502 of Keck is, Grossenbacher probably feels a bit like a sitting duck. At least that's what Keck is hoping for.
Absolutely. You see Musser right here, nice and smooth as he get through turn number 9. The 516 trying to run it down. Last time by, he was not faster than the leader, though.
Wow, look at Keck forcing the issue in turn number 10 right there with, who would that be? Grossenbacher. Keck now is going to go for his 2nd pass in as many laps at the same spot, turn number 1. Punch the ticket for Brian Keck. He's got him again. Keck from 5th to 4th, now to 3rd. Jordan Musser, the next card up the road.
Meanwhile, 2 seconds out in front. Jonathan Vitolo in the 534 GFC cart absolutely hammering this heat race. Of course, there was contact. Racing, he was a 3-cart battle for the lead. He came out of it unscathed. He had nothing to do with him.
No.
But he's doing a fantastic job of taking advantage of an opportunity here. Jordan Musser has been known as one of the fastest shifter master drivers, second to maybe, he's in that really kind of elite group the last several years. He's coming. Brian Keck is there, but Vitolo not letting it affect him. He's head down, and he's still been the fastest cart on track until that lap right there.
Yeah, Musser lays down his best lap. It's not the best lap of the race overall, but Musser's last time by was his quickest of the race, a 42.931. The lead was originally 2.6 when Chris called it out. It's down to 2.3. It'll be interesting to see here what Musser can do as far as reeling in Vitolo. But at plus 2 seconds, Chris, coming around to see the 2 to go sign, it just feels like.
Never say never, Tony.
That's what I was just about to say. I was about to say it feels like you should never say never. No, that's not what I was going to say.
9 seconds, 6 seconds, 4 seconds, and they're going to give him. And that was perfect timing.
Yep, right there.
2 to go here
Clock
for
running
Vitolo,
out.
where Musser really wanted.
Oh, Keck goes purple. That time by 42.585.
Nope.
No, you're right. Sorry. That's his best lap overall.
Keck is purple, correct. That time 42.739. But a 42.7, still the fastest go-kart on track.
That time.
The 5:02 of Brian Keck.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so now inside of 2 laps to go, Brian Keck, Jordan Musser really can only watch as Vitolo continues to hit his marks and run pretty good laps here. Out of turn number 10, down through the final couple of corners. They'll see the white flag waving this time by. Oh, we've got the math down now. We know.
I heard.
We know white flag means 1 lap, the sticks mean 2. And don't call him to the win until you see a checkered.
Yeah, that checkered, that's the fat lady singing, Tony.
Hey, listen, I don't sing as much anymore, okay?
Well, we are in Vegas.
I've stopped singing, all right? Now the white flag is out here.
Check out Tony's private story for Halloween picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile.
And my audition tapes.
Vitolo's good, but how about this one? Keck all over the backside of Musser now. Keck trying to get that preferred starting spot for heat race number 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, truthfully, that off-pole outside row 1 starting spot for these standing starts has paid dividends, and Musser gets a little defensive on corner entry right there. Keck is going to be close, but not close enough. He'll stay in 3rd, Musser will stay in 2nd, and Vitolo will score the win here in heat race number 2 for the ROK Shifter Masters.
And a beautiful race there. I mean, obviously you had the contact. That's unfortunate, but hey, I think we know who our top 3 cards are in this class. It's Vitolo, Musser, and Keck.
Yeah.
And I'm not that big of a betting man, Tony. But
Right. If you were,
I'd have it on the 5:02 right now. Musser and Vitolo are going to have to find something to be able to fight with Brian Keck.
Yeah.
Big picture here throughout the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, no matter where he's been, Keck is showing really good pace. Out in front leading or chasing guys down. Wherever he's at, Brian Keck has shown really, really good speed. So we're getting ready to keep rolling on here with our next heat race. This will be the first of our split class heat races. ROK VLR Junior is brought to you by RPG, and so many entries in that category. They've decided to split the field. So we saw A versus B earlier this morning. Now we're getting ready for A versus C. Again, this is POV or Jason Larea. You're hanging out in the scale line at ROK Vegas, and there's your winner, the 534 of Jonathan Vitolo. And Jordan Musser gets out behind him in 2nd with Brian Keck in 3rd, Grossenbacher 4th, and Ryan Yop the top 5. Look at that shot right there. Oh, man, the Rio Tower behind you.
That's right.
Nice shallow depth of field.
Vitolo trying to go Stig here on us this weekend.
Man, look at that. Am I watching a video game or am I watching real life right now? It looks so good, I can't tell. So Musser comes home in 2nd, the fist bump, and it's Jonathan Vitolo after running 2nd in heat race number 1. He's your victor in ROK Shifter Masters heat race number 2.
The best part is, Tony, now these Masters drivers, unless they're running in our 125 or no, the RO, are they done? Masters are done for the day.
Shifter Masters, yes.
We have another Masters class coming up, though.
Yes.
Is anybody running double?
I don't believe so between the shifter. I don't want to say that. There might be a few guys. Let me pull
well,
out
good.
my grid.
They can head to the oxygen bar. They can get the insurer out and get the massage therapist over to the tent. Their day's done.
I know a guy here at the Rio whose hotel suite is so big, he's actually got a massage room in his suite.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. There's a hair salon in that suite.
We don't need that.
No, we don't need that. He doesn't either.
He doesn't either. No.
Yeah. That's the good part about the fade that God's given us is we don't have to worry about hair salons.
El Natural here, folks. What a beautiful view, though, here high above the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino. Tony Laporte, it's been an awesome day with you.
Yeah, it's been great. Like I said, shades of 2015, 2016, calling some Rotax and some rock karting back at the old FWT. And when you're not changing young drivers' lives in IndyCar, you can still be found helping out at the karting ranks. And the sport's better for it, Chris.
Look, you never forget where you came from, Tony.
You can't. You can't. When you come from karting, it's kind of burned into your brain.
That's right. That is absolutely correcto mundo.
Whether you want to remember it or not, you're going to. So now we get ready for RPG ROK VLR Junior. And those drivers are on the grid being shown the 1 minute. Less than 1 minute now at this point. Isaac Malcute and Sebastian Garzona, your front row. Diego Ardiles and Turner Brown share row number 2. Naomi Garcia starts 5th with Gavin McCune rolling off in 6th. Salvador Della Vecchia in 7th with Maverick McKenna in 8th. The top 10 is rounded out by Drew Jensen and David Ybarra.
A versus C. And Tony, earlier when we had A versus B, it was obviously a heck of a race. Ardiles is quick, Malcute's quick, Naomi Garcia was on it, Turner Brown, Sebastian Garzon. This is going to be one heck of a barn burner here at A versus C.
Yeah, absolutely. The rest of the field outside the top 10 looks like Peyton Mary Jane in 11th, Juan Paramo in 12th, Matt Cagle and Declan Dionorine in row 7th, Maddie Grace, Keegan Ellsworth, Maui Angel, Jordan Martin, and Jackson Elfonte round out this 19-car, 9.5 row field for VLR Junior Heat Race number 2, RPG, the presenting sponsor. Isaac Malcute getting the job done in Heat Race number 1 against Sebastian Garzone, who did the same in Heat Race C versus D. Because, again, you're taking those split fields, they've cut them 4 ways, and you line them up head-to-head. Everybody will race everybody across all 3 heats this weekend.
So drivers working their way here off turn number 10 through 11, now rolling the right-hander at turn number 12 as they get set to head to their tram lanes. Our race control officials looking intently here within these painted lines. Your drivers, A versus C in VLR Junior.
You can't pop out of your tram lanes until the red light is extinguished and hands go up.
That's a failure. That's a failure. That's an issue.
Oh, yeah.
And then a crash.
Oh, no. After the lights did not extinguish, drivers trying to sort themselves out after one driver suffering a mechanical failure. Oh, no. Was that the 893 of Ardiles?
I believe it was Ardiles, hand up, getting over drivers right, just trying to get out of the way. Not sure what the problem was. Oh, no.
Wow, yeah. We're going to try to find out exactly who was involved in that aborted start. You can't even call it the start. Lights never went out. And everybody just trying to get sorted out there. Yeah, those red lights that we can see from behind the start-finish line. The drivers also see them coming towards the start-finish line. And until they see those red lights go out, Chris, they can't leave the tram lanes. They can't accelerate. They can't pass each other. They have to wait for the red lights to go out.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
Especially when you call off a start and then you got people crashing.
Yes. Yeah.
But to be fair, I'm glad we don't only see it in IndyCar. We see it in all forms of motorsports.
Yeah, you guys have had that a few times.
Whew.
A wreck on the outlap. Where was that? Was that Gateway this year?
Dude, Ardiles is not in the shot. Ardiles is not on the grid anymore.
But you can see Ryan Egan right there. The start. Ryan Egan showing them the wave around here. Yeah, this is a mess. They're gonna have to sort these kids out to find out where everybody should be, and can they start where they should be? That's the big question.
My goodness.
So they're gonna go around one more time here, and this is what's so tough, Chris, because in almost every other form of motorsport, you have pit to driver, you have control to driver, radio communication, and can cleanly and simply instruct, hey, you're supposed to be here, you're supposed to be there, but not in karting.
Yeah, it's a bummer, too. For a lot of years, I've been an advocate of the one-way communication, race control to driver.
The receiver.
Exactly. But, hey, good thing we have only the best here with us with the ROK group, and they're going to get this one sorted out and dialed in. I'm really confused at what's going on with the 893.
See, I didn't get a good look at the incident there on the start, so did you think that you saw the 893 get caught up?
No, he waved his hand and pulled drivers right.
Okay.
And then everybody accelerated past him.
Yeah, I do not see the 893.
Still not there. That's 868, which is Garcia, so that whole row is bumped up.
Yeah, very interesting. But they've sorted themselves out and correctly into the tram lanes. So we're going to try this again here. Nice and slow, says Ryan Egan. They come in side by side. Let's wait to see that red light go out. It does. Much more uniform start there that time. We're off and racing here in RPG VLR Junior A versus C. This is heat race number 2 down the, well, that's not even the back straightaway. Out of turns 2, now 3.
Through the short chute.
The short chute that connects 2 and 3. The field rolls.
So massive traffic jam here as they go through turns 4 and 5. The right-hander kink at 6. Back to the 7-8 double left combo. Tony Laporta I can't wait to find out what had happened there, because I think Ardiles had definitely put together a phenomenal opening act this morning between the two junior heats that he was in.
Yeah, you just saw a good move there by Sebastian Garzon in the 850 to get around the 868 of Naomi Garcia. That would be for second position on the track. Leaders are going to come across here. Malkout out front by a healthy 0.7 of a second at the end of lap number 1. Doesn't hurt either that the race leader goes purple. Fight for second position right there. Is that the 868 of Garcia getting back on Garzon? I believe it is. No, that's the, well, we're going to try to find out. No, that might be the 860 of Della Vecchia. Yeah, that's the 860 of Della Vecchia for second around Garzon. Garzon with a great line to the inside in turn number 9. So Garzon's going to take back over that second position. But all this battling, Chris, is not helping these young drivers reel in race leader Isaac Malkout.
No, Malkout is literally checked out here. This is going to be a second plus margin
at the line.
Completing 2 laps. Let's see what it is on the board. Yeah, 1.4 seconds. Literally ripped off almost a full second that lap with everybody battling out behind. Turner Brown into the second spot. Then it'll be Garzon. Then it shows Diego's up there.
Yeah, Diego Ardiles scored, right there he is, 893. Yep, Diego Ardiles.
Okay, so we missed him. It was not in his original starting spot, so maybe there's something that happened there that we weren't aware about. Couldn't get back to a spot. Not really sure. Happy to see it. I hate seeing, especially young drivers, miss opportunities to race.
Right, exactly, and especially if it's due to no fault of their own. Oh, big incident right here. That's the 837 and the 887. A little bit of disagreement taking place.
That's Maverick McKenna and Gavin McCune.
Oh, boy. Okay, so yellow flags being displayed. Officials hopping over the wall to get those 2 carts pulled apart. And I don't even know if I saw exactly where on the track that was. I think that's back in the back half of the lap here, probably past turn 6 or 7. We'll know in a moment because the leaders are almost back to that exact same section. Malkout, your leader, he had gone back-to-back purple laps, quickest car on the track, 2 laps in a row. Turner Brown now takes over fast lap honors, last time by a 46.821, and that's for 2 reasons. He's trying to outrun Sebastian Garzon and Diego Ardiles, who are right behind him, 2 guys you'd want to outrun, but he's also trying to reel in Malkout. Malkout, your leader, there he goes, right by in turn number 10. And Turner Brown, Garzon, Ardiles, and Della Vecchia complete the top 5.
Bumper to bumper pushing here. That is Garzon on Brown with Ardiles here in 4th, and they are doing everything they can to close that gap. They got 0.2 that last lap as Garzon goes purple with a 46.9, 46.692. Just a little bit better than Turner Brown, 46.693.
Yeah, wow. I mean, 1,000th of a second separating the quick times for second and third place right now. And right now you really hope that you get to see these second, third, and fourth place drivers put their heads down, focus, work with each other, and go reel in Isaac Malkout. Not that I'm betting against the race leader in the 879 of Malkout. It's just that when you get to see the battle for the lead be 4, 5, 6 carts deep, it's wildly entertaining. It's super fun to watch. And the only way that's going to happen, though, here in this heat race number 2 for RPG ROK VLR Junior is if Garzon, Turner Brown, Ardiles, and Della Vecchia. It's only going to happen if those 4 work together and go up there and reel in Malkout at the top of the charts.
I will admit, though, Tony, they've been chipping away. The lead at 1.4 seconds. Now it's down to 0.9 of a second. So that
with lots of time,
that group has a lot of energy in it right now, and you can visually see them start to close it in, especially the 11 and 12 sector. When they come off in the final couple of corners, they start to build up momentum, and they get a huge run from 12 down to 1, and that's been where they've been able to capitalize all the way actually to turn number 3. The clock 3:18 on it here. Plenty of racing left, and there it is, even more. Now it's down to 0.8 of a second, so they're chipping away at it. And actually, Brown and Garzon have started to stretch it here just a little bit. Not sure if Ardiles didn't have the greatest of exits over off the backside.
No, but he went purple. Ardiles did last time by a 46.410. So Ardiles making speed wherever he can, every time he can.
How about this, though? Ardiles, 46.410. Garzon, 46.420. Turner Brown, 46.430. So literally 410, 420, 430. That's the timing right here. Second, third, and fourth to a 46.5. your leader, and they definitely have got him on the hook now.
Well, what's even crazier is it's all going to go away right now, but everybody from 1st to 11th just ran their fastest lap of the race up to this point. Oh, boy, we got a visitor in the booth now. And
don't look now, folks. How about it? Turner Brown going purple, 46.299. That lead now under 0.7 of a second for the first time.
And Chris Wheeler better be careful. He's got someone breathing down his neck right here in the booth. Greg Bell must have heard what you were saying. Hey, I'm on your side.
Greg Bell, he said he was way cool that Tony was shaking in his boots.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Isaac Malkout, your race leader. New rules being discovered, everything like that.
I mean, Greg Bell looks like he's breathing normal, though, for climbing all the way up here to the top of our broadcast booth.
Yeah, 20 stories up is pretty impressive, and Greg Bell did it in a, yeah, he caught a hot air balloon, maybe a helicopter ride.
That's what it is.
46.299 for Turner Brown, and they are very close, they being Turner Brown, Sebastian Garzon, and Ardiles, to catching race leader Isaac Malkout. Minute and a half to go here, and we have lots of time left here in heat race number 2. And the deliveries just continue to happen.
Taquitos and mozz sticks, brother.
Mozzarella sticks and taquitos, clearly the diet of all successful announcers.
Absolutely.
Chris Wheeler and I didn't get to looking this good by accident.
As we watch the leaders now through turn number 10, the shadow starting to fall on the backside of the racetrack here. The Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino protected a little bit as the sun starts to head to the best coast, west coast. And you're going to start to see this track continue to change now, Tony.
Man, Brown goes purple again, Chris. 46.293. No doubt with a little bit of help by Sebastian Garzon, who's right there behind him pushing
1,
around.
2, 3, cover him with the blanket. What was once a 1.4 second advantage from Malkout, now 0.349, and your leaders all within 0.2 of each other last time by. They've kind of dropped Ardiles here. Ardiles went purple and then kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Not sure if he used it up a little bit too much there trying to stick to him or get to him, but doesn't seem to have anything to fight this backside of this heat race.
Yeah, Ardiles now is just going to have to worry about keeping Salvador Del Vecchia behind him. They're not going to beat the clock here to complete this lap, so no signal being shown. So let's essentially call this 3 to go. The clock will run out in 9.87 seconds, and then the next time our leaders come back around, they'll see the sticks. 2 to go. Now Malkout has his hands full and begins to get defensive. Through 3, now they'll head for turn number 4 into the infield. Turner Brown takes a look to the inside. No, thinks better of it. He's in the hot seat here, Chris, because Turner Brown wants to go after Malkout, but he's got Garzon right behind him and has to be smart.
This is where you got to hope that Garzon has his head switched on for the bigger picture. Garzon's going to have to help Brown make the attack on Malkout if he wants to have an opportunity to advance himself here.
Yeah, so here we go through 10. They'll come around to see 2 corners and 2 laps to go. Once they get to the outside of these 2 corners, Malkout has put a little bit of breathing room. Now between him and 2nd and 3rd place for a moment there, it was very, very close. At the line, Malkout has a 0.2 of a second advantage, but I bet you he doesn't feel like it's that comfortable right now.
Not at all. What looks like it's a decent margin, maybe 3/4 of a cart length to most. Here he goes. Brown with a big one to the bottom, clear.
And that's going to shove early race leader, the 879 of Malkout, way out. Garzon now tries to work the high side, build a little bit of speed through the left-hander. Turn number 8, it's almost 3 wide for the race lead. As they come out of 9, they'll run down the back straightaway. Turn 10's been a great passing opportunity, but Chris, don't get excited. Still 1 lap to go when they get to the line.
My goodness, Tony Laporta. They're shaking this thing up, and here's the problem. When you pop that early, don't look now. Here comes Diego Ardiles and Salvador Della Vecchia. This is going to be a 5-cart race here by the time they get to turn number 3 with another defensive move.
Turner Brown made the high side the fast side. They're side by side. Garzon now shows the way into turn number 3. Turner Brown's getting hung out to dry. He goes from 1st to 2nd, now back to 3rd. Malkout, your pole sitter and early race leader, tries to force something down in turn number 4. Can't get it to stick. Garzon has half a lap and a race lead all to himself.
Beautiful driving here as they exit turn number 8, setting up for turn number 9, 3 different lines. Everybody looking for a little bit of momentum. Everybody trying to work on their exit shot.
Well, what's problematic here for everybody behind Garzon is they're all trying to defend against each other, which means they can't focus on making the best lap they can to go after race leader Sebastian Garzon. Checkered flag waves here on RPG VLR Junior Heat race number 2, A versus C, goes to the Orsilon Racing driver of Sebastian Garzon. He worked for it there. Isaac Malkout comes home 2nd. Ardiles third, Turner, Brown, and Della Vecchia your top 5. Yeah.
Now this is pretty cool. Tony Laporta is going to get out of his seat for an interview that I've been wanting to do for 15 years.
Here we go.
Rick Bell, how are you, man?
I've been great. I've had fun this year.
Are you?
Yeah.
You look relaxed for the first time in Vegas in a long time.
It's a lot different when you're working for somebody you love to work with and not have to worry about a whole team.
I get it. We were talking about that earlier. We had the Formal watcher on in that heat race. Obviously, post-qualifying, whatever happened. I don't even know. Don't really care because we made it cool in the first heat race. Watching him pluck through the traffic and doing it cleanly. He did it professionally. I talked to him a little bit during lunch break. He's like, man, once I got to clean air, I just saved my tires. It's progressive heat racing. How does that work in you? When you got a guy like Formal who can drive the thing 10/10, who can really sit there and push it, kind of cruising there the second half of a race, how does that affect how you're going to work on it and set it up for later?
We just work really well together. So, we don't do anything without discussing with one another. And I have ideas that, he may say okay to and some that he doesn't. He feels pretty comfortable with the car. I mean, the car has been right out of the box really, really good. Lacking a little bit of center corner lateral grip that we're fighting to find, and we just made a pretty big swing at it. So I think we'll be a little bit better this heat race. We're no strangers to starting in the back of this race.
Yeah. No, for sure. One thing that we've talked about a lot throughout the weekend, or the day so far, as we look for the rest of the weekend, is going to be the track progression. The Levanto tire rubber continuing to lay down heat race after heat race. Talk to us a little bit about what you see as the track continues to evolve.
Ironically enough, it hasn't just gotten super better today. I think tomorrow's going to be a different story, but today it's kind of okay. It still has a lot to come. It's not there yet.
So it still has a lot of growth to happen there. Another thing we're actually complimenting, how many years we've been coming to the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino? It's got to be 20 plus.
We were just talking about that. I don't remember the first year, but I thought it was around 10 or 11, maybe 9.
How about how well this parking lot continues to hold up?
It's pretty good.
I mean, Jimmy Vasser, your 1996 IndyCar champions here on site. I was hanging out with him at lunch. We watched the first couple of heat races together, and was amazed at how smooth this parking lot is, right? And to see it all these years later continue to be in great shape, it kind of – does that help when you're coming back and you know the place isn't going to change much?
It doesn't. I mean, the setup is pretty much the same as when we won in 9, 10, or 11. It just kind of stays the same. But I think it has a lot to do with there's not a lot of racing on it between us coming back and doing some stuff. So it doesn't get beat up all the time. There's not a lot of asphalt degradation because of it. You know, most tracks get hurt because of how much undulation there is with everything on it every single day.
You kind of talked about how happy you are this week and how relaxed you are. You've been on a bit of a quest as of late, right? It's not this big team thing. It's not focused on growing a brand or anything like that. It's focused on working with people who are like-minded, who want to win races. And we rock up and see you on a Sodi kart this weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
totally something like didn't expect it.
No, but Danny called me and he's like, "Hey, can I get you to do my engines?" And he was thinking about another mechanic. I'm like, "Well, I can mechanic for you too." Makes more sense to come to supply the engines. And Theory is super good at Sodi kart. We worked out a deal that worked for both of us, and we've got a couple other. We got a mini and then a VLR Senior in there that's going really well for the drivers, and it was a win-win. I mean, so it's just a good team, good atmosphere, and I'm having fun.
Well, hopefully we'll check in with you here throughout the weekend, and it'll be with some interviews over at the podium.
Absolutely, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, man. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Meanwhile, back to the racetrack action we go, and that is going to be for the Rollison Performance Group, ROK VLR Junior Heat Race number 2, B versus D. Alejandro Halfin, Eric Doan. Doan with a huge comeback victory earlier. Tony Laporta, as you settle back in here, it'll be Peterson, Farias, Costa, Stamps, Kennedy, Nieto. That is going to be your first 4 rows as the drivers rock through turn number 11, head to their tram lanes. You're gonna double down on Doan here?
I mean, I think it'd be a safe bet. It looked great earlier on. Jose Alejandro Halfin on the inside, Eric Doan to the outside, And the yellow flags waving around the track here as the lights did not go out, so an aborted start, second attempt upcoming. How was Greg Bell? What did he have to say?
It was awesome. We just talked about the track progression. He said the track's just not there yet. Mm-hmm. He thinks tomorrow it'll take a big swing. We talked about the surface and how the setup he's running here is very close to what he ran, in 2010.
Yeah.
And just how happy he is, loves working with a guy like Danny Formal.
I mean, who wouldn't? I like this. I like the signal we've got up here on the top of our broadcast screen. We've got a false start.
That'll be a 5-yard penalty on the offense.
Yeah, we're going to move everybody back here and see if they can build up even more speed before going down into turn number 1. Halfin and Doran put on a good race back in heat number 1. This is going to be heat number 2, part 2. ROK VLR Junior, brought to you by RPG, B versus D. But, of course, the Chris Wheeler probably brought you through all of that and more. Good-looking shot right there as the field snakes their way through the right-handed hairpin, turn number 10. Lots of drivers telling me yesterday that's a very technical corner. Some drivers just flat out saying, I don't like that last turn. I don't like that last hairpin. But it's usually the corners you don't like the most that challenge you and make the best driver.
So let's try it for the second time here in B versus D to the tram lanes. The official being very clear.
That's Ryan Egan.
Egan doesn't mess around.
That guy shoots. That guy works inside tanks and shoots tanks. Yeah, for a living with the U.S. Army. So you don't want to be on his bad side, that's for sure.
Is that who you were going to call if Bell was mad at you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I was going to have some real muscle on my side. I've just got fake muscle. Everybody knows that. Off and running here in the RPG, heat number 2. This is B versus D, VLR Junior. And a clean start, clean and green, plus 10 and leaving, as you used to say. And we're rolling through the infield section here. Halfin and Doan. The good thing about Doan is you can pick him out pretty easily. Formal gloves. Got those bright neon green gloves, and they look like they're out in front of the field right now. That's how we know who our leader is.
My favorite part there, though, was I believe it might have been Halfin off of turn number 9, pointing at the leader.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the leader.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Such an over-communicator, some of these guys.
He's like, Tony, that's who you want to be talking about up there. Halfin slips from the pole position back one spot to second, but he's got to be careful here. He's got Hader Farias. I'm going to get that name right one of these days.
Farias right there in the 803 machine.
Yeah, Farias in third right now. And then behind Farias, Dean Peterson and Johnny Stamps. Early contender for name of the weekend.
I haven't found what I like even more.
Yeah, I agree. Well, again, but in this one you've also got a Maverick, or Maverick might have been in A versus C a little while ago. How are the taquitos? We just got a fresh delivery of those in, and we don't hurt for much here in the hospitality suites high above the Rio parking lot.
All for the taquitos.
Yep. Those will be what get you through some long late night drives from race to race. Out on track right now, the quickest cart is the 801 of Alexander Vanchev, a 46.737 last time by. You know how you can tell Chris Wheeler's brave is that he's biting into a taquito with no water in sight. That's sketchy when your job is to talk and you're choking down a taquito.
I'm a part-timer, Tony.
Hey, we're in Vegas. Why not gamble a little bit? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's what we like to see. So now you can already tell Halfin is putting in the legwork, starting to reel in, and that's thanks to the fact that Doan, your leader, went 47 flat, and Halfin last time by was a 46.898, almost 3/10 of a second quicker. Was Halfin to Doan, 46.751 for Doan, 46.63 for Halfin. Halfin now right there on the back bumper, a race leader, Eric Doan. He's ready to strike.
And how about moving up from 7th to 6th to 801, Alexander Vanchev goes purple that lap, 46.545 on the RPG machine. I'm telling you, I think Vanchev is on for a good week. Every time he's on track, it's just a little bit better. And by the time this thing settles, I wouldn't be shocked if you're interviewing him on a podium.
Yeah, be where he needs to be, right? And I think that was the story of Vanchev's Florida Winter Tour. So many weekends we saw him down to the southeast when ROK Cup USA began the 2024 season. What does Halfin have? How about a bid for the lead? He licks the stamp and sends it. Halfin around the inside on Eric Doan. Doan now will give way and smell exhaust for the first time in a few laps here in this VLR Junior Heat Race number 2, B versus D. The action you're watching on track right now, Rollison Performance Group bringing you the action. Now, Halfin has to get ready to play defense because Doan is going to be coming right back after him.
So I took a minute there. I was looking out at this awesome crowd that we have on site with us here above the VIP deck, on the tuners boxes and the grandstands. Tons of great people. And how about a shout out to all those that aren't even here yet?
Right.
Right? I mean, there's people flying in right now. There's people driving in right now, ready to spend their weekend with us here in Vegas, Tony Laporta, and I'm super pumped about it.
Yeah, lots of people always make the trip out here, and ROK Cup USA had great crowds everywhere they've been this year. See a corner worker taking off right there. One incident on the exit of turn number 1, yellow flags flying. But wherever ROK Cup has been here in 2024, it's been good packs of carts on track. It's been good crowds in the bleachers and the spectator stands around the property. And look at this, though, Chris. Eric Doan has just not given an absolute inch to Halfin here. You could be challenged to slide a piece of paper between the front bumper of Doan and the rear bumper of Halfin on the exit of some of these corners. Eric Doan right there in the Levanto tire tracks of race leader Jose Alejandro Halfin.
I mean, right now, Eric Doan has put on the performance of the day. Leading in, he got the gold star for performance of the day through heat race number 1 with that drive back after the issues early. In the same exact heat race just this morning when you said it couldn't be done.
I know.
And he proved you wrong.
Thank you for remembering that.
Did you go apologize yet?
No, I'm working on writing out a nice letter.
Are you going to pin him something unique?
Yeah, I will pen something with my quill.
It's Vegas. There's probably a museum for it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of museums around this town. We found that out the other night. Halfin really has no room to breathe right now, though, because he's got Doan right behind him. And then there you see Dean Peterson and Vanchev right there in third and fourth.
Vanchev currently went purple the last time by. Let's see if he backs it up here, up in the 4th spot.
He does.
Goes purple again, 46.1. That's 0.3 of a second.
There he goes.
Faster. Here comes Vanchev for a big move.
Yeah, right there on the inside of turn number 3. I would definitely expected turn 10 to see where you'd see a lot more action. No, turn 3 has become calamity corner.
It's really started to occur to me that if you can get through 1 solid and carry your momentum through 2, really opens it up. Meanwhile, Doan with a big move now. This is only going to help that whole group, which is Vanchev, Farias, and Kustis, rather. Those 3 are just going to continue to close up on this gap. And as you look at the clock, Tony Laporta, just under 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, this is all going to really tighten everybody up here as Halfin and Doan swap the lead. Once again, move the pole sitter. Alejandro Halfin back to second because Doan shows the way here with not much time left to go. And I think in just about another lap, if these guys make any more attempts at passing each other, first and second, that is, Vanchev, Peterson, Farias, Kennedy, Kustis, they're all going to be a lot closer to turning this in to a 7-8 kart battle for the race lead.
And that's unfortunate for them, but great for us and great for all of you back at home. As we watch these drivers now work off turn number 9. Everybody tucked in, elbows in, head down, trying to close just a little bit of a margin. Halfin looking for a little help from his RPG teammate.
Man, you're right, Chris. Unfortunate for the leaders to have so much more competition. But how great is it for everybody watching here at the track and back home on YouTube? Ever since ROK Cup USA decided to take their broadcast in-house and produce this live stream, it has been offered to the fans of ROK Cup USA Racing for free.
Free.
What a
zero.
deal. Free 50.
That's it.
No discounts needed.
No.
Because you can't discount 0.
Tell you what, tell your grandma you're hooking her up.
Yeah, exactly. Graham, I got you all the
Call your
ROK Cup.
wife, call your girlfriend, call them both. We don't care. Tell them you got a deal for them.
Yeah, we got you. We got you all the ROK Cup USA Racing you could shake a stick at, and you don't have to pay anything. I took care of it. It's your Christmas present.
I can't wait to see all the comments that are on of all the Formula One fans that can't believe there's actually racing in the world that people pass.
Well, especially in Las Vegas. They're going to come here in a few weeks, and they won't see this much passing all weekend. Yeah, exactly. We see more passing on an outlap in ROK Cup USA Racing than you will at F1.
Meanwhile, knock, knock. Who's that? Alexander Vanchev. 3rd place on track and another quick time, half a second faster than those in front. Boom. Put him in P2. Wow.
Vanchev making quick work of Jose Alejandro Halfin. And now inside of that clock expiring, when they come back around, they should be seeing the sticks, 2 to go. That was the 8:03 of Faritas putting the moves on Dean Peterson. So move Faritas up a position from 5th now to 4th. Peterson will round out the top 5 as they come around to see the sticks.
Vanchev on a mission here. 2 laps remaining here in B versus D. Through the short chute they go.
Yeah, this is where you've seen so much passing. Remember, Zachary Clayman DeMello in his race earlier this morning in heat race number 1, he made 3 different passes for position in that same corner, albeit over the span of a couple laps. But, man, Clayman DeMello showed that turn 3 is a great opportunity.
I'm starting to think Doan was snookering us there, Tony.
Yeah.
He was just kind of cruising to a pace. He saw 2 to go, and guess what? His fastest lap of the race, and he opened up an additional 0.2 of a second that time on the field.
Yeah, 46.316 as the 2 to go signal was shown for your race leader, Eric Doan. The gap grows to 0.6 of a second. Let's see if it grows, shrinks, or stabilizes here. At the white flag, 0.6 of a second. Actually, that was for, 0.5 of a second, so it shrinks, but just barely.
Barely, and the fastest car that lap, Vanchev, 46.223.
So here they come back into the infield. The white flag has been displayed. Eric Doan. Yeah, I think he was fooling us up here in the booth, showing us not everything he had until very, very late in the race, because now he has got more than enough breathing room to get this.
And you saw Vanchev make one of the first mistakes he's made all day right there into turn number 8. Turned in just a little bit early, had to turn out of it, lost just a touch of momentum. Was able to gain it back up through turn number 9, though.
Now to turn number 10 through the final 2 corners. The checkers will wave. RPG, ROK VLR Junior Heat 2 B versus D comes to a close, and it's Eric Doan getting the job done. He will win the second heat race in the B versus D version of this VLR Junior battle.
Tony Laporta, I will see you again in just a little bit.
Okay, Chris, we will see you in a little more bit. Vanchev in second to Doan, your winner. Jose Alejandro Halfin in third. Farias in fourth. Dean Peterson, your top 5. Kennedy 6th. Kustis 7th. Luca Povsko 8th. And Xander Malista in 9th. Malatesta. And Camilla Nito, the top 10. So really good racing there in VLR Junior Heat Race number 2. B versus D. That is it for ROK VLR Junior. You will see them back on track tomorrow morning for their pair of third and final heat races. Cool shot of the scale line as our drivers pop out of their carts down in the scales. Eric Doan in the 843, Alexander Vanchev, and Jose Alejandro Halfin, the top 3. Drivers will roll across the scale, do the tech inspection process, and see if there's any adjustments to this finishing order before they are done for the day. But remember, VLR Junior, you're going to see a good group of these young drivers pulling double duty, so they are not done. The drivers, they themselves are not done. Most of them will be back on track a little bit later on in the ROK GP Junior category. There's Lexi. She's making sure everybody's, playing nice and friendly down there in the scale line. You don't want to upset Lexi. She'll put the hurt on you. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you right now. So ROK VLR Junior is done. Again, expect to see a lot of these same drivers in ROK GP Junior a little bit later on. Cool shot right there as Eric Doan, Alexander Vanchev, and Jose Alejandro Halfin are your top 3. Coming up next, we're going to get ready to introduce you to the starting grid in ROK Mini. Their heat race number 2 is staged on the grid right there. We're going to pause for station identification / a quick drink, and we'll be back to introduce you to the starting lineup in ROK Mini. They're getting ready to roll out in less than 1 minute. Welcome back, folks, to live coverage of day number 1 of racing action here. Vortex Engines, Levanto Kart Tires making up ROK Vegas 2024. Great racing already through rounds 1 and about halfway through round number 2 of our heat races here. Chris Wheeler and myself, Tony Laporta. Chris has stepped out of the booth for just a moment to do a little bit of event research, probably build his notebook, and continue to unearth the stories that populate the pit area here at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino. Somebody told me that Wheeler's got his own suite, and I'll tell you what, good for him. Good for him. I'm excited for him. There we go, ROK Mini, heat race number 2. Valentino Santillan will lead this field out onto the track as Dom makes his way out of the front. And this field heads out onto the racetrack. Santillan and Miguel Suarez are your front row. Marco Samut and Jackson Caravino are row number 2. You got Nico Arbezo starting 5th with Carson Hodge in row number 3. Braden Wagner and Kalen Berghofer in row number 4. Maximilian de Guzman starts 9th with Grayson Walcott in 10th. John McClellan starts 11th with Riker Magro in 12th. The rest of the top 15 sees Simon Jack Klein, Vion Bindi, and Neve Adresra. The top 15, Nico Katowski is 16th, Lorenzo Varela 17th, Christian Damiandias 18th, Rodolfo Lavin 19th, and Emilio Wong in the top 20. Give you the rest of the starting lineup here if we have the chance, should this start not roll, and I think there's a good chance it won't. No, they're going to get slowed up enough here, all these mini drivers. Well, I say that, and then we got a bunch of jostling for position here, and I don't see us going green. No, Shaggy waves him off. Oh, boy, a little bit of swerving, a little bit of a hip check. Oh, man. All right, so we will get a chance to work our way through the rest of the starting lineup here as the back half of the field was getting slotted into position. Emilio Wong starts 20th. Lucas Ferria is 21st. Paxton Romero 22nd. Marco Fazzari 23rd. Isaac Payne, Wes Witt, Salomon Piragua, Troy Ferguson, Ava Cabral, and Luis Martinez are the 29 kart field here in ROK Mini. So going to get everybody a little bit more tightly packed up. You see that red line they cross right there on the exit of turn number 9. That is the delineation line, and that is where the field is told to really pack up, pair up, and try to be in as tight of a starting grid as they can. Obviously, they did not get in position by that delineation line on their first formation lap. They will try it again, and there you can see a great-looking shot of the field crawling almost through turn number 10. They've done a much better job lining up. One driver trying to get the attention of officials, maybe not in the correct spot. Sometimes drivers also, they're told if you're getting pushed aggressively from behind coming into the starting lanes, put your hand up, and that's kind of the way to identify. Yeah, who is that? That's going to be third in line, the 198 of Kaysen Hodge. Kaysen Hodge, apologies, called him Carson at the start. Kaysen Hodge, he's in the correct starting position. I'm not sure. I think he's identifying that he's maybe he feels like he's getting pushed from behind. Either way, this is a much better looking starting grid. The lights go out and we go racing here in ROK Mini heat race number 2. Got to get everybody through that opening corner. And by the look of our officials and seeing that whole pack unwind out of turn number 2, that is the case. Turn 3 can get kind of hairy, but everybody plays nice, and we're off into the infield. Lap number 1 underway here. ROK Mini heat race number 2 is rolling. There's Valentino Santillan and Miguel Suarez. Marco Samut was up there in heat race number 1. That's why you see those guys starting first, second, and third. No shock to see early on in the start of lap number 1 here, Santillan, Suarez, Samut, as they come out. The 175 of Samut has launched from third up to second here on the original trip around the track. Santillan, your race leader. No surprise, lap 1 in the books. Your driver that's out in front with nobody to worry about in front of him goes purple, 51.478. That's the quick lap out of Santillan. Chris Wheeler talked about it at depth. Very, very often in these first couple laps of these micro and mini races, these tires are just not up to heat, up to temperature. They did get that second formation lap after an aborted start, so that could help those guys out as far as building temperature. But at the super slow pace they worked, probably not as beneficial as you would think. Sometimes you'll see them get one full flying lap and then do a formation lap. Either way, the point is, here in these mini and micro categories, tire temperatures are not always where the drivers want them or need them. Up until sometimes lap 3, 4, maybe even 5. Nico Orbezo glued to the back bumper, the 175 Samut here. That's second and third on the track, and they come out of turn number 2. Man, you got to wonder, when does Orbezo try to make a move here? Because he is there. He is absolutely there on the back of Samut. Santillan leads him through the infield. Third time now as we work lap number 3. And this 3-cart train is about to become a 4-pack as Miguel Suarez, your second-place starter, outside of row number 1 is where the driver, the 126, rolled off from when the lights went out. Suarez has now caught up and is the caboose on this 4-cart train. Now this is just, anything could change the dynamic of this race with the pack growing the way they have up here at the front 4. One driver pulls out and makes an attempt for a pass. It can upset the whole flow of things in the front 4 here. And that could slow down the leaders. That could allow 5th, 6th, 7th, Braden Wagner, Jackson Cravino, Kaysen Hodge, Kalen Berghofer, the rest of the top 10 to get closer and be a part of this. The 4-cart train rolls through the infield out of 7 into 8. Now the quick right-hander, turn number 9. And it's a relatively short and not very straight back stretch that sets them up for turn number 10. And I just love it. Chris has talked about it a little bit, the development of the minds of these young drivers. You get to see it in real time. You get to see these kids think, and you get to see them sort of work through the problem solving of, all right, I'm in a tight pack. I know the leader's right there. I know I want to have a chance at battling for the race lead as Orbezo now starts to fend off pressure from Miguel Suarez. But you see these young kids, and you watch them solve the real-time problem of, what do I do? What's better? Do I stay in line? Do I help push? Do I try to reel in the leader? Do I get aggressive? Do I go after a position? There you see the 126 of Suarez put the moves on Orbezo. So 3rd and 4th have been flipped, move the 158 of Orbezo back. Suarez up to 2nd, or back to 3rd, and red flags wave. Red flags on the circuit as we try to find out exactly what the cause is. So the red flags are out, and drivers come to a stop. The lead pack came to a stop over in turn number 10. And we're scanning around, finding out exactly what the issue is. Seems like something maybe off the exit of turn number 2. As officials and track personnel respond, we will update you quickly and as officially as we can as to what the case is. But red flag coming out here, working lap number 5, while Santillan was leading. Marco Samut in 2nd. Orbezo and Suarez had been racing for 3rd and 4th. So give us a moment here, folks. We're going to work on finding out exactly what's the situation, and we'll pass along any information as quickly as we can. Stand by, and we'll let you know exactly what's going on here in just a few moments.
Guy went off turn 2 pretty hard, like really, really hard.
We were muted, right?
might have got hit by the cart.
All right, so folks, looks like from the best we can tell, the red flag is out right now for an incident involving a driver out on track. And it seems also a track worker, a corner worker, seems to have been involved in the accident. Best we can gather is cart ran wide on the exit of turn number 2, made contact with the Tech Pro barriers, and it looks like a corner worker was involved, possibly being taken down. So again, that's really all we know at this point, but medical and track personnel are on site responding, and everybody is talking, everybody is moving around, and now it just comes to making sure everybody is as okay as possible. So if you're watching live coverage right now, don't go anywhere. We're not going to leave. We're just waiting to get everybody taken care of and fixed up over there. There you see a good shot of the pack of drivers here in ROK Mini. Heat race number 2 has come to a pause, and the drivers are walking around. They're going to get instructions here from the officials. Stick with us, folks. We're going to get everything cleaned up here on track. We'll be back with just a little bit more information here in a few moments.
The driver's okay, right? There's no driver. Oh, I thought there was a
All right, folks, we are back here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You can see drivers getting ready to climb back into their carts. They're getting some instruction here from race control, and the Chris Wheeler and I are back here in the skybox above the front straightaway at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas for ROK Vegas. Chris, some wild circumstances, which again, for just honestly the best we know and what we can put out as a driver went off track. There was an incident over in the corner involving a corner worker. That corner worker is being tended to.
Yeah.
And
now we're just waiting to get the all clear so we can go back racing here.
Yeah, exactly. So
easy peasy.
Yeah, you never want to see a red flag like this happen, but I don't know. I'm a fan of. Again, we know that everybody's receiving the attention they need to, and it sounds like everyone is okay. I'm a fan of when moments like this end up being okay, and then they have results like this where you see just kind of unique things, right? When you see go-karts on a racetrack, they're flying around, they're at speed. Here, they're all stopped, single file, staged, and drivers are over receiving instruction right now from race officials. And this is just kind of one of those things where you don't normally see it, so it's a unique sight, and it's something to look at.
My favorite part about that image there is there's all these kids over here taking a class photo. One took off and started pushing his cart away, and another is just chilling. In the yellow helmet there right behind the 158. That might be Miguel Suarez. He's just chilling. He's like, nah, no photos, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm comfy.
Yeah. So drivers, it looks like, are now being told to get back to their machines, and we will slot everybody back in. The red flag came out, I think it was while working lap number 5. You can see the leaderboard there on the side of your screen if you're watching back at home. If you're here in Vegas and you can hear us, well, you don't see a leaderboard because you're here. But Valentino Santillan and Marco Samut were kind of dicing it up for the lead at the time of the incident. Orbezo and Suarez were trading positions around the same time as well, with Braden Wagner in the 5th position, Kason Hodge, Jackson Caravino in 7th, Callan Bergenhofer, Grayson Walcott, and John McClellan, the top 10. John.
Johnny Stamps and John McClellan, they're leading it here.
Yeah,
as far as name of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody's going to get sorted back into where they need to be. There's Chuck Yoder, the gentleman to the bottom of your screen and to the right. Ursula, kind of administrative director here with ROK Cup USA. That's kind of fancy jargon for she handles a whole bunch of everything here. And then the other gentleman there at the front of your screen, that is Shaggy. He has no last name, and he is our chief starter. Comes to us by way of Oakland Valley Raceway Park up in Cutterbackville, New York. Tim Hannon. Chris, how long has it been since you heard that name?
A long time.
I love Tim Hannon.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, Tim Hannon's got a couple prospects out here. Bobby Radavoy, also one of the eyes in the sky, helping with race control. Bobby Radavoy, a prod.
I hadn't seen Bobby in a decade until yesterday, and I saw him walk on over to me, and he's wearing his New York Yankees hat, and I said, "Nice hat." He looked at me. He said, "Thanks." And he looked at mine, and then put his head down as I wore my Dodgers hat.
Yeah, well, there it is. It only took us a few hours to get into it.
That's right.
The L.A. Dodgers, World Series champions. Chris, how's it feel? Your team bought another one. How's it feel?
Wait a second here. Sorry that the Rockies couldn't get out of their own way.
Well, the Rockies spend less on payroll than you do on lunch a year. So let's just be honest with each other.
There's two ways to play the game in professional sports, and the Dodgers, they want to win.
No, I know. I don't.
Don't forget that Japan
baseball.
had 15 million viewers.
Yeah.
That's more than they've ever had. Between Yoshi and Shohei, man, it was a great time to be a Dodgers fan.
But that's what's great about you being a part of this ROK Cup USA broadcast is think about all the viewers you're bringing.
Well, it's on my private story.
Of course, that's baseball. We've got, you spend money, you buy runs, you buy wins. And
it's just like racing. Speed costs money. How fast you want to go?
Yeah. I always loved that show. I don't know if you remember this on Speed Channel, but there was that show Setup that Tommy Kendall hosted.
Yeah.
And he always opened the show by looking into the camera and saying, racing may be the only sport in the world where talent guarantees you nothing. Mm-hmm. And I always loved that line because it just was it was proof of the fact that racing is expensive. And you could be the most talented driver out there, but if you don't have the backing and the right equipment and all those other scenarios, boy, it doesn't usually go your way.
Well, and that's in our case, that's why we're still here.
You and I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna get a little bit of a commercial break here, possibly, before we can.
Yeah, let's dive out and thank our partners and have a little station identification here. And we'll be back with you live from ROK Vegas momentarily.
All right, folks, we are back here at ROK Vegas in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you for your patience as you see on your screens, and you can hear out here at the facility. Carts have refired, and our ROK Mini drivers are making their way back around the track here after a lengthy red flag for an incident over in turn number 2 involving a driver that went off and a corner worker that was also involved. Everybody has been taken care of that needs to be taken care of. And but, Chris, you can absolutely see a very big difference in daylight since this stoppage occurred maybe over 30 minutes ago now. And soon the debate will be taking place over whether or not to shorten the remainder of these heat races to make sure we get out of here with daylight on our side.
No, for sure, Tony. And, we talked about it about 2 heat races ago, the shadows as the sun sets to the west, which is, of course, the best.
Very, very subtle.
And on the other side here of the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino, well below us, in our current location.
Way below us.
The shadows starting to form. Drivers here. Single tram line, drivers right. Single file restart. Looking for the lights.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we need a couple drivers back into the tram lanes here. And the red light, I guess, went out there. Yellow flags are not being displayed, so we are back to racing here in ROK Mini. This is heat race number 2. And the 175 of Samut back behind race leader. Or no, we've had a shuffling here, I believe.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait till these drivers hit the start-finish line once. After that red flag, timing and scoring just needs a little wake-up, and that'll be back on our screens here momentarily, at least in the booth.
Yeah, I'm showing Orbezo. He was scored at second. And just looking out the window here, that's the 158 leading him down the back straightaway with the 126 of Miguel Suarez in second.
Yeah, I believe Orbezo made a great start there through 1-2 and a pass into 3.
Okay, so that's what we're being told happened. And lap number next is being completed. The clock there restarting with just a little bit over 2 minutes to go. Now under a minute and a half. As everything gets kind of recalibrated and correctly turned on. Orbezo has the lead. Miguel Suarez in the 126, Braden Wagner in the 104, Marco Samut and Kason Hodge complete your top 5. Boy, quite the mental gymnastics you got to do here as a driver to be racing right in the middle of it all, take a long break, and then jump right back into it.
Well, and another thing to remember, right? These are young kids, Tony. Traditionally, when they're on the grid, they've got a parent, they've got a mechanic, somebody they're talking to, get them right in their headspace before they go out. Everything's checked out. They know, they've talked about what tire pressures they're going to start on. They talked about all these things, and they usually have a little bit of help making sure that everything fires up and kicks off smoothly. Now you're asking these kids, they took their helmets off, they've got to strap their stuff up properly, get their chest protectors back on, make sure the right glove is on the right hand. I mean, they're kids.
Yeah, it's tricky.
And then it's firing it up, and you don't have that pre-checklist going through with the mechanic or the parent, and so it's a lot to put on these kids' shoulders, especially when it's this quick of a shootout. It's going to be what a 5-lap dash here is what this is.
Suarez just made a good move down to the inside to take over the top spot from Orbezo, so move Miguel Suarez on the Cosmic back up to the front. Now the 158 of Nico Orbezo led after the restart. He gets shuffled back to second. You see Samut there, Marco Samut in third, Braden Wagner and Kason Hodge. Top 5, Caravino 6th, Berghofer 7th, Grayson Walcott, Riker Magro, and Troy Ferguson, the top 10. And this should be 3 to go at the line. Check that. They are showing them 2 to go. 2 laps left in this one.
Yeah, we're going to have to be on our toes here for the remainder of the day. Like you said, the sun's starting to set on the backside of the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino. Very large building here overlooking our racetrack, and as that sun peaks behind it, visibility going to decline in a hurry.
Yeah, you lose light here so fast in parts of this racetrack just based on, I think it's like an 85, 86-story tower that makes up the majority of the rooms in the casino here at the Rio. So it's an interesting facet of racing on this side of I-15. The sun is setting behind the tower, and that and so much more will play a role, the timing being the biggest one after that lengthy red flag here in the middle of ROK Mini. Out of the final corner with 2 to go. Now the white flag will wave. 1 lap left. Suarez showing the way, but a very hungry Nico Orbezo and Marco Samut right behind him. Here we go into turn number 3. Orbezo pulled out, tried to make a pass. Philippe thought better of it, gets back in line. Miguel Suarez trying to defend, but also stay as fast and aggressive out in front as possible. Through the infield, out of 6, through 7, now down into turn number 8. They've got to make that left-hander and then get right back over to the left-hand side of the track. Fight for second. Samut took a look to the inside. No, Orbezo continues to hold station in P2.
So, Tony, something to think about. We're about 40 to 50 minutes behind schedule right now with that red flag and everything that comes with it. And we're going to have to start talking after this feature or after this heat race finishes, which is right now, about what's going to happen to the racetrack.
Miguel Suarez scores the victory in ROK Mini Heat Race number 2. Suarez, your winner. Nico Orbezo, second. Marco Samut, third. Kalen Berghofer in fourth. Case and Hodge, the top 5. Wagner, Caravino, Ferguson, Magro, and Walcott, the top 10. McClellan, Adressa, Piragua, De Guzman, and Varela, the top 15. So, Chris, that's a good point. The sun's starting to set. We've still got 4 classes, 5 races. What do you mean when you talk about seeing how this track may change?
As the sun goes down and the sun gets off the track temperature and the surface temperature will continue to drop. And when the cooler temperatures on the track happen, the grip starts to come up. Mm-hmm. Also, the tires are going to take a little bit longer. Now you're looking at changing it around. Do I need to change a little bit in the carburetor settings? Sometimes with track conditions, you can have a full tooth or 2 of gear changes that need to be made. Not to mention the chassis changes to try and get the tires up to temperature. So a lot of things starting to take place now that you're about 40 to 50 minutes behind where you had anticipated to be on your setup.
Yeah, absolutely, because if you think these drivers and their teams weren't taking notes over the weekend, over the early part of the week when they were out there practicing, knowing, okay, what time of day was it when we went out? What was the temperature? What was the track temperature? What were we doing with gearing? What were we doing with the pressures? All of that stuff gets logged in the notebooks for all these teams, the drivers, and their crews, and that gets applied to when you get here to these race situations. So you bring up a great point, Chris. It all starts with those Levanto tires. If the track starts to drop in temperature, you don't have as much grip. Okay, what do you do with gearing? Are you having to struggle a little bit more to get out of it? Are you struggling more so you have to compensate, adding or taking away a little bit of teeth on the rear gear? What are you doing with the carburetor? There's so much that gets affected by something simple.
I mean, the air quality is completely changing right now.
Yeah. So the word coming down from timing and scoring that we have now officially entered the ready racing stage. As of now, no word on shortening the time distances of these races, but we are ready racing, which all that means to people on YouTube is nothing. More racing's coming your way. That's a good thing. What it means for those of you here at the track is we're obviously way off schedule. Don't regard the clock. Don't regard the times on your schedules anymore. We are ready racing. So when the class in front of you is out on track, you need to be on the grid. When the class in front of you is on the grid, you need to be on your way down to the grid. So we are ready racing here in Las Vegas for the remainder of the day as we continue to move on. We just got done with ROK Mini, ROK GP Senior Pro, getting ready to roll out onto the track, or has already rolled out onto the track. ROK GP Senior Pro. Making sure we have a starting lineup here. Maybe not. So we're just going to tell you about it here. There we go. Yep. Okay. Sorry. We do have a starting lineup. Frankie Mossman and Blake Nash. Wow. About as close as you could get side by side. There's the lights went out, and we are racing. And again, what is, to my knowledge, still an 8-minute plus 2-lap heat race for the Speed Lab ROK GP Pro. Heat race number 2. Field makes their way through the infield here. Mossman and Nash showing the way. Nash and the 335 of Kai Hunter. Kai Hunter getting aggressive there. Frankie Mossman answers back down into turn number 10. Mossman, down in the dirty stuff, is able to hold on to that race lead. Look at the shucking and the jiving we have got going on here The 3:14 of Blake Nash started this race in the second position, scored there in third in the middle of a really good fight between Mossman and Kai Hunter. Kai Hunter comes right back to the inside in turn number 3 on lap 2. Kai Hunter to the race lead. Hunter gets squirrely under braking as he tries to defend, runs wide on corner exit of 4. Frankie Mossman now back to the top spot, and Blake Nash is going to force his way on through. Another race lead here on lap number 2. Blake Nash out in front.
So Mossman on track for his 4th heat race of the day, Tony, and the advantage is going to play out much later in the weekend for Frankie here, and that's knowing the track progression and having so many laps on it in different times of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And just seat time, again, comfortability is such a big thing here. Kai Hunter now third in this 4-cart train. Another one of the Nash Motorsports drivers, Stephen Miller, has caught up, and Steve Miller's got some cool partners on that cart, doesn't he?
He does, man. He does. Actually, I just enjoyed a bit.
Yeah.
Wake Energy.
Wake Organic.
Organic,
Yeah,
sorry.
there we go.
Wake Organic. I had a guava cucumber, I believe, drink, and
God bless you.
It was honestly, Tony, for a guy that doesn't like vegetables, both of us, it was really good.
I don't think guava is a vegetable. That's the number one thing. I think that's a fruit.
No, but the cucumber is.
Oh yes, true. Of course. When you said cucumber, I blacked out there because I'm that anti-vegetable. Look at this pack of carts right there. That's 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Wardell, Maroc, Saga, and Hand flying through turns 1 and 2. Up front, the leaders: Blake Nash, Frankie Mossman. There you go. Through turn 3, then right behind them, Miller and Hunter. And the sun has gone down. These guys had to sit a little bit longer, and the aggression has just turned up immediately from the start.
And another thing that you're going to have playing into it here in just a little bit is you can see where the part of the racetrack is sunny, but it's really when you get in the back portion off of 9, you get to that 10, 11, 12 area, you get to the braking zone. You can see it here on your camera at home. Nice dark area, especially down here in the 10. It's visibility. It's missing your marks now. I don't know how to explain it other than if you've ever worn some sort of safety glasses or shooting glasses with a different tint on it. The tints here in the glasses do a great job, or on the visors do a great job of helping protect the driver when the sun's on them. But when you get into some of these darker areas on the racetrack, man,
yeah,
it's
dark.
Really dark.
It's really dark. We had a really good shot right there coming down the barrel, down the front straightaway. Kai Hunter took a look to his right and down, obviously thinking about a carburetor adjustment.
And then shook his head.
And shook his head side to side like he was disgusted or just something wasn't working. And look at how far back he's fallen.
Something's starting to go wrong here for Kai Hunter.
Yeah. Kai Hunter can either hear it, feel it, maybe even smell it. You hope it's not that terminal. But Kai Hunter has completely lost contact with this 3-cart train up at the front of the field in the Speed Lab.
Well, last time by, Hunter was about half a second off.
Oh, as far as lap times?
And he's dropped up, and he might have pulled off.
Yeah, Kai Hunter falling
Could have
down.
been a throttle cable. It could have been literally anything. And in all honesty, a group that's 11 strong right now, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Right? Like this isn't like a Brandon Atkins at Newcastle 20 years ago, driving with one hand on the throttle cable. Or Jesus Rios doing it at the Winter Tour, literally winning races in senior with one hand on the carburetor and one hand on the wheel.
I think we were at the Texas Lone Star Grand Prix down in Lockhart, Texas a couple of years ago, and we saw a driver do that. I think it might have only been for a heat race, but the throttle cable snapped up there by where it attaches to the throttle pedal, and the driver leaned over and drove the last, I think, full lap, pulling the throttle with their right hand.
Yeah, I tried to do it one time. It lasted 3 corners, and I crashed.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah,
you got to look up, see what's in front of you.
Yeah, to reach down on the carburetor, first off to find it right, and then to be able to actually use your hand then to modulate the throttle itself on the carburetor. It's
very hard.
Very difficult, and then driving one hand and doing it at pace, and
Yeah, keeping pace is the biggest part of the equation. Blake Nash out in front here, nearly a half of a second back to P2. That's Frankie Mossman. Stephen Miller in third, Oliver Maroc, and Max Saga, the top 5. Checking in, you can see the time remaining on the top of your monitor back at home. Inside of 3.5 minutes left in this one. 2.5 minutes, check that.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 32 seconds right now. And everything's kind of settled in here. Nash, Mossman, Miller, just kind of rolling along here. Nobody really starting to pressure at all. Mossman, Miller, both put their fastest laps of the race last time by. Mossman was a little bit quicker than your leader. Just not sure if, 2 minutes, give or take, 42nd lap. That's about 3 laps right there on the crossover. So give it 5 to go-ish here. Not sure if that's enough as Mossman rips another piece of tape off that radiator.
Yeah, surprising to see that kind of an adjustment taking place already as the sun is setting. You talked about it earlier, Chris. The ambient temperature is going to start dropping. We are still at 69 degrees.
All right.
Yeah, and but again, before too long, as we approach the 5 o'clock hour, you're going to see that temperature start to drop. Around this time yesterday afternoon, ROK Cup USA officials hosted a Halloween costume contest down in the scale area. I don't know, did you happen to stick around for any of that? Did you get to partake?
No, actually, I was trying to check into my room.
Oh, okay. Well, the Halloween costume contest went off with a bang. It was a lot of fun. Tons of kids showed up. We even saw a few adults down there dressed up, and really, really fun way to kind of celebrate Halloween out here on the road. Racing in Las Vegas, trophies and prizes, and a lot of candy were handed out, not just to top 3 finishers, but to everybody who came out to the Halloween costume contest. You can see all that, some of the pictures, some of the video, by checking out the ROK Cup USA Facebook, Twitter. I think it was on Instagram. So if you want to see how much fun, and you should really see the contest winners, because the most creative certainly, I think, earned it. We had a really good podium of young kids with some really cool costumes. So head over to the ROK Cup USA Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and check out what kind of fun we were having here yesterday afternoon right around this time as we celebrated Halloween here in Las Vegas.
How about a big shout-out to your 2020 Pro Shifter ROK Vegas champion, Oliver Askew.
Oh, my.
He's hitting us up here right now. He just got back down to Jupiter, Florida, was off on the road doing the Lord's work. That's working with amateur race car drivers and helping them develop their craft.
I wonder if he heard me a little earlier when I said that one cart got a little askew, #Oliver.
#Oliver. We sure do miss that guy. I hope to see him soon.
I miss him too. We tried to get him to do what you're doing.
I know.
At Florida Winter Tour.
Yeah, for those of you, though, that at home are like, wow, this is really cool. This Chris guy's actually done this before. Actually, no, I was the 19th person they called to sit next to Tony Laporta. And the first one to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. When they heard who they'd be working with, we lost a lot of applicants. Chris, we appreciate you. Look at that purple lap time by Frankie Mossman until Maroc goes purple, 44.08. You sounded like Damon Gardner there for a second. Check it. Check it.
I will say, though, I think what you're seeing right now is some of these carts continue to run their faster laps, Tony. They were already impounded on the grid. No adjustments allowed, I believe, once you get out of the Park from May area. And tire pressures are probably a bit low for everybody in this one, and that's what we keep talking about, the changing conditions.
Yeah. So the white flag will be coming out this time by. And, boy, Blake Nash, Frankie Mossman have been close all day. Doesn't look as close as it has been, though, here with 1 lap to go, Chris.
Well, just like that, Mossman closes it in another 10th. But, again, progressive heat races. Second, first, it doesn't mean anything here. There's no points to gain on the weekend. So it'll be A-OK, just kind of cruising along here and keeping that front row starting spot and keep working on that race car speed concepts.
Couple corners rather to go here in this final lap, and just like that, the Speed Lab ROK GP Pro Heat Race number 2 will be done. Nash Motorsports, they've got a class of racing coming up at the end of the day in VLR Senior.
Well, right now they've got them first and third.
Their drivers are carrying the flags pretty proudly right now. Nash Motorsports and Blake Nash pick up the victory in Speed Lab ROK GP Pro Heat Race number 2. Frankie Mossman, though, big tip of the cap. He has been very consistent today and all week.
I believe that's 3 top 5s out of 4 heat races for Frankie.
Yes, your math is much better than mine.
No, just my memory.
Stephen Miller. Speaking of memories, boy, we've had some. Stephen Miller in third, Oliver Maroc, and Chase Hand, the top 5. Saga Wardell, Vasquez, Rivetta, Kai Hunter, the top 10. That'll do it for the Speed Lab ROK GP Pro Heat Race number 2.
And just like that, Tony, your favorite part of the day.
Lunch?
No, but I'll be back.
Okay, all right, Chris. Chris is going out to check the tires and make sure everyone out in the pits is safe and they're following the rules. Chris, thanks as always. Again, folks, if you're here at the track with us, we are ready racing. There will be no delay in the schedule. Once the track is clear, timing and scoring is ready, we are rolling out onto the track. So please, please, please pay attention to the schedule. PSL Karting Rock Shifter Pro is on the grid now, which means that ROK GP Junior, you need to be down in pre-staging. ROK GP Junior, you need to be in pre-staging or on your way to the grid. VLR Senior, A versus C. You need to begin to get ready. Again, VLR Senior A versus C, please be ready. We are ready racing. There will be no stops in the action from here till the end as we are trying to get as close to back on schedule as possible. PSL Karting Rock Shifter Pro is coming up next. So as we get ready to head back onto the track here, pretty cool look at the VIP section that ROK Cup USA has built. It's a nice big stage parallel to the front straightaway, and Jason Larray has given us a walk around it right here. And this is the VIP hospitality stage. They've got directors' chairs right up there on the front of the fence. That's right, folks. You're on live TV right here, right now. And this is a special area for VIPs, for very important persons. And heck yeah, there we go. We're having a good time up on the stage. There's some food behind Jason. That's what I always go to the stage for. They've got some stuff set out. Is that broccoli? That's why Chris Wheeler's not over there right now. They got the vegetable tray. They got a bunch of other stuff. There were roller dogs. They got food set out. Oh, Jason, you reached out for the food. You killed the camera shot. But a cool look at the VIP hospitality stage. We've got some very important people running the VIP hospitality stage up there as well. Plenty of places to sit, plenty of stuff to eat, drink, and great way to take in the racing here at ROK Vegas 2024. So you never know what kind of celebrities you'll find up there on the stage. Walk around. But make sure you have the right wristband, because we got a security guard down there who is not playing no games, okay? Here you go. We got some beverages. We got some excited people. That guy's got the American flag on his Under Armour logo. That's a Patriot right there. And they're like, he can see us. So, yeah, that's the hospitality and VIP stage. And another cool thing ROK Cup USA is doing for the folks here taking in ROK Vegas 2024. Good look at the track as it'll be ready to be populated here in just a moment with PSL Karting and the ROK Shifter Pro category. Wherever you are here at the track or back home watching live on YouTube, we thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us as ROK Cup USA ends its 2024 season here at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino. I'm Tony Laporta, high above the start-finish line here in Las Vegas. Chris Wheeler just began the trek down 20 flights of stairs, but we are watching all the action unfold here. You got the mechanics stand just off to the side of the hospitality stage here. The mechanics stand is always an entertaining thing to watch during the races. As they pass along instructions, tips, life advice, just kind of all around, good vibes come from that mechanics stand. And speaking of good vibes, Oliver Askew is locked in, he says, as he watches the broadcast here. Beautiful Friday afternoon turning into Friday evening here in Las Vegas. PSLkarting.com ROK Shifter Pro makes their way out on the track. I'll tell you this, if you're at the track, you should get somewhere where you can watch this race. The shifters always put on just a really, really entertaining battle. So if you're in that hospitality stage, get up, stand up, be somewhere where you can see the on-track action here. Kyle Wick and Daniel Vasile are your front row. Hunter Pickett and Jacob Gulick make up row number 2. Mateus Morgado starts 5th with Danny Formal in the 6th position. Remo Ricchetti will start 7th with Ethan Puher in 8th. Avancino starts 9th with Raymond Ryan in 10th. Robert Heck rolls 11th with Evan Concepcion in 12th. Baxley, Valiente, Littell, Gagnon, and Saraceno complete the field. And Oliver Askew says GFC is goated. Oliver, I think you're goated. Come out and hang out with us sometime. ROK Cup, be back in Florida for the upcoming winter tour. Some news coming out about that later on this week, I think, maybe. I'll tell you this. You get nervous when you know someone like Oliver Askew is watching your broadcast. I'm going to try really hard not to screw up, but I haven't done that good of a job with that so far today, so I'm not going to make any promises here for the rest of the afternoon. Shaggy puts the visors down, points the lights, and says, let's get ready to go racing here at ROK Vegas, PSLkarting.com. ROK Shifter Pro Heat Race number 2 coming at you. And once again, we see the off-pole starter grab the hole shot and take off with the race lead here. That was Daniel Vasile beating GFC driver Kyle Wick down to the inside of turn number 1. Great start for Vasile, and that is 4 for 4 times today we have seen the off-pole starter in a standing start, a shifter field, get the hole shot and lead the field down off lights going out. Field makes their way down through turn number 10 to complete the opening lap here. The timing and scoring will be popping up on your monitor here in just a moment as the field comes by. You'll see that, as well as the clock with how much time is left in this race. Remember, 8 minutes plus 2 laps is the prescription for our junior, senior, and masters aged drivers. Micro and Mini, they are done for the day, and they were a 6 minute plus 2 lap race here. So shifters flying around the parking lot here at the Rio. Daniel Vasile out in front. Kyle Wick has got Hunter Pickett back there in 2nd and 3rd. Jacob Gulick, Mateus Morgado. Boy, what can Danny Formal do after starting all the way at the back of the pack in PSLkarting.com Shifter Pro Heat Race number 1. Look at that shot right there as the 495 of Vasile screams down the front straightaway. But Danny Formal goes from 17th to 6th in heat race number 1, and that's where he started heat race number 2. Formal in that 60. Vasile out in front early after the hole shot. Kyle Wick, quickest card on track though, 42.386. Kyle Wick. Could you say he's turning up the wick? I think you could, and I just did. Vasile comes across the start-finish line. Half of a second separates P1 and P2. Let's take a look here. As they cross the line, it shrinks to 0.4 of a second. Kyle Wick was a 42.0. Vasile was a 42.1, but the quickest card on the track was the PSL Burrell of Mateus Morgado. Morgado goes purple, 42.009. So close to the 41-second bracket for the 4th place driver of Mateus Morgado. Morgado setting his sights on Hunter Pickett, one of the 2 team GFC drivers, up at the front of the field. There you see him. Then behind him, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Mateus Morgado leads Gulick, Formal, and Ricchetti, 4th, 5th, and 6th, as they all come flying across the start-finish line. Now it's Hunter Pickett, the quickest card on track, 41.849, the driver in 3rd place, trying to reel in Kyle Wick, his teammate, but also get away from Mateus Morgado. Meanwhile, Vasile is able to go a little bit quicker. He gets down into the 41-second bracket. Wick not able to come along with it. Vasile, a 41.908. Wick, a 42.008. And that's what's allowed Daniel Vasile to open up the lead to over a half of a second here. You're watching PSLkarting.com ROK Pro Shifter Heat Race number 2. I got a soft spot in my heart for these Ital carts out in front. When I grew up racing in Colorado, that is what I drove, an Ital Kart Supersonic. It might have even been a Supersonic V, and I really loved how the Valientes worked with you and helped you out, and the Ital Kart is, I think, a great product. and it's just super cool to see it out here and competing amongst all the great chassis brands and manufacturers at ROK Vegas. Vortex Engines, Levanto Tires partnering together to put on this awesome event inside the back parking lot at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino. And the graphics package on that Ital cart just looks mean. Another lap in the books here. Mateus Morgado still holds fast lap honors, but your two leaders just laid down their best laps of the race, a 41.801 and a 41.842 for Kyle Wick. That is just what you've come accustomed to seeing at ROK Cup USA karting events, is wildly close and competitive fields. Chris, I'm glad to welcome you back up to the top of the skybox here. How are things outside?
Yeah, really good. Actually had a chance to talk with Frankie Mossman for a minute. That's his 4th heat race of the day, just concluded. And we're just talking about the track progression, the track conditions itself, and how wild it's been from warm-up this morning in cold conditions. Even the first couple heat races were a little chilly. Then the sun started to cook things a little bit, running through the heat of the day. And now he's like, man, the track is changing quickly, which makes me think, right? Vasile, they must have got that tail cart dialed in for the conditions, right? They are just driving away here in this one. I talked to Danny Formal during lunch break. He said he was saving his tires a bit. Earlier we had Greg Bell in here talking about some wholesale changes they're making on the race car. They had thought they were going to do it an hour ago, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so was it too late to make some other changes? We don't know, but this is what's so fun about these things, man. This isn't, Greg Bell talked about it's the same parking lot we've been on for all these years, not much different, but it's all in the details, right? You look at this and you think we're racing at a parking lot, it's very rough, it's very different from a permanent go-kart facility that we run on week in and week out, but all the details still matter just as much here in the parking lot at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino as they would at any other karting track in the country.
I mean, arguably you could say the details matter even more here because it's such a variable, right?
Yeah.
And I heard a parent walking out through the hotel back door yesterday coming out here to the track, and I don't know if this was this parent's first time, if it was their child's first time racing out here in the parking lot of Vegas, but the parent was on the phone saying, it feels like they're hitting speed bumps. It's such a physical and such a fast racetrack. Obviously, they're not hitting speed bumps. It's just the rough nature of a parking lot that isn't a purpose-built racing facility. But here you go. Morgado pulls out to the inside of the 436 Pickett, move the 462 of Morgado from 4th up to 3rd. The point is, these parking lot tracks, these barrier tracks, as Gary Carlton talked about yesterday, they really maximize driver precision. Ben Cooper talked about he likes this kind of racing because you have to be so precise and so focused. There's zero room for error out here, whether it's on track between the barriers or setting the cart up to come out onto the track and do battle.
No, absolutely, and we've seen it throughout the day here. Day number 1, heats 1 and 2, we're starting to wind things down. 2 to go after this race is over, which, speaking of, Vasile just went purple, 41.687, so continuing to find speed in that 495 Ital cart, but they're under a minute to go. I don't think that they will get the 3. They won't get 2 to go, so it should be 3 to go with the line.
This is my favorite game during these timed races.
Guessing the lap count.
Yeah, exactly. Guessing the lap count. Will they, won't they? Race control's been showing them the 2 to go if it's really, really, really close. Of course, we are up against a time wall here with everything that happened with that red flag back during Mini.
And don't forget, if you're senior, VLR Senior A versus C, and you're not on the grid now, you're probably behind the 8 ball here. Yep. It's ready racing. They're going to go with or without you.
Yep, exactly. That's a good reminder. 10 seconds left on the clock here, so they're definitely going to be coming around to see 2 to go when they get back to the line. Daniel Vasile and that Ital cart team definitely went to work and changed things up a little bit from heat race number 1 to heat race number 2. He's got the quickest lap on the track up to this point with a 41.687. He did that back on lap number 10.
Out in front, 0.8 of a second the margin here, coming to 2 to go. Next time they hit the stripe through turn number 10, nice and tight on exit. Look at the momentum here through 11. Now the right-hander at 12.
And there we'll see the start-finish line shot. 2 to go. And Vasile's lead stays steady at just under a full second. 0.8 separated Vasile to Team GFC's Kyle Wick. I don't know if you heard, but Oliver Askew checked in with me as he enjoys the broadcast. Sent the text, GFC is goated.
Goated.
I said, Oliver Askew, you're goated.
I mean,
But in all seriousness, when you talk about North American karting, Gary Carlton.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have 2 go-kart helmets in my collection. I have a very vast collection of helmets throughout my career that I've gotten from people I've worked with and done different deals with. And I got to tell you, I've got 2 from karting, 3 from karting. Check that. I've got Oliver Askew, first time we went to a world championship race. I've got David Malukas from the year in cadet when he won a WKA Triple Crown. And I've got GFC from a Supernats.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but on Oliver's helmet, isn't your name painted on it?
Yeah, everybody that was a part of the OGP group back then.
Yep.
Shout out to all my old OGP homies.
Man, Ocala Grand Prix. Jeremy Fletcher. I just got to call him in the Mazda MX-5 Cup race at Martinsville last weekend.
Time flies when you're having fun. Speaking of having fun, Daniel Vasile having a lot of fun, although that lead is closed down. Kyle Wick starting to close in just a little bit, but don't think he's going to have time. You can call this one guaranteed, Tony.
Too little, too late. Out of the final corner across the start-finish line. Checkered flags wave. PSLkarting.com. Rock Shifter Pro does in fact go to the Ital kart. Daniel Vasile. Kyle Wick runs second. Mateus Morgado in third. Hunter Pickett fourth. And Remo Richetti. How fun is it to say that name? Fifth. Danny Formal. Not the heat race we expected. Started sixth. Finished in sixth. Interesting there for Formal.
Saving tires.
Oh. Little
again,
gamesmanship.
ROK VLR Senior A versus C. If you're not on the grid, you're late. Well, we are ready racing.
We got GP Junior first.
Where's that starting at?
Might have just been.
I just discarded it.
I think you might have just put it down on the ground.
Oh no, I wasn't paying attention.
All right, we're gonna pull out
gosh.
We're gonna pull out our ROK GP Junior.
Man.
And
I just made a mess of
yeah,
things.
here we go. No, don't worry, Chris. I saved you. That's the Rocket Racing Company ROK GP Junior Heat Race number 2.
Might be.
That VLR Senior is going to be really good action, so you were probably just anticipating.
In all honesty, ROK GP Junior, if you're not on the grid, you are late.
Yeah.
We're going here with or without you. This is a warning call here for VLR Seniors. Both A versus C, B versus D. Just get down the hill.
I think Chris wants to go to dinner. He wants us to wrap up.
Dude, you have no idea.
They got lots of good places to eat here in Vegas.
I was going to head back to the International Buffet.
They got the Smash Burger up top. I like the Smash Burger location. It's right by the Chippendales Experience. So I can sit there and eat it used to be the BK Lounge. Do you remember when it was the Burger King?
Yeah, and
there?
the show was Thunder Down Under.
Right. I'd sit there eating my third Whopper of the night, and I'm just like, I'll never look like those guys.
Yeah, it's great.
But I can dream.
It's like the drive-in wedding chapel.
Yeah.
And if you take a right, you leave, and if you take a left, you go back to the drive-through divorce side.
I was going to say, hopefully that spits you out to the drive-through divorce court. All right, 3 races left, 2 categories of karts on track, and they come thundering out of turn number 2. So fiercely was the thunder that our camera stand was shaking right there. That's how much power is coursing around this track here. It's the Rocket Racing Company, ROK GP Junior. Sarah Bradley will lead the field for the green flag with Turner Brown on her outside. Diego Ardila starts third with Edward Kennedy in the 4th position. Naomi Garcia completes the top 5 with Jose Alejandro Haufen in 6th. Vanchev is 7th, Dean Peterson 8th, Declan Dionorine 9th, and Geronimo Corral complete the top 10. Alfonte, Gonzalez, Anderson, Chaparro, Saruth, and Dupuis are the rest of the 16 kart grid here in Rocket Racing Company, ROK GP Junior. 8 minutes plus 2 laps to settle who will start where in the final heat race tomorrow morning. Bradley on the inside, Brown on the outside. The field splits and makes their way into the tram lanes. ROK GP Junior getting ready to throw the gloves off one final time here on a Friday in Las Vegas.
Into turn number 1, Bradley with a great move there. Ardiles looks like he's going to try and push through, and successful. Big defensive move over the bumps here.
Yeah, the 235, or check that, it looks like around the 236. Turner Brown gets slotted from second back to third, and everybody's off and running here into the infield section. Sarah Bradley is going to lead her Speed Concepts teammate, Diego Ardiles, into the left-handed turn number 8 for the first time here. Temperature is slowly beginning to drop. Visibility still good, though, for these drivers in our last 3 heat
good
races.
enough.
Good enough, yeah, absolutely. And you do bring up a great point with those visors. You keep too dark of a visor on as the sun goes down, you're going to be squinting a little bit out there.
Absolutely. So we'll see the drivers hit the start-finish line this time by. We knew it was Bradley Ardiles. How about Turner Brown third, Garcia fourth, Vanchev up 3 now into the 5th spot.
Big move right here. Turner Brown down to the inside of Ardiles in turn 3, and boom goes the dynamite.
That's exactly what it is. And no, folks, your eyes are not playing tricks on you at home. It's not a funny mirror. That's literally Speed Concepts 3 versus RPG 3 in the top 6.
Yeah, this is good stuff right now as these teams get bigger and bigger, and you talked about it a little while ago. Data sharing, such a big thing. And when you have multiple teammates that you can kind of bounce ideas off of and look at data numbers, that's why you see so many of these drivers in packs as teammates up at the front of the field.
Absolutely, and you watch some of the progression of these drivers over the years. And speaking of progression, how about the progression out front? Last time by 0.4 of a second was the lead. This time almost identical, 0.39, as Turner Brown was able to slot into that second spot and continues to close it. But Dupuis, all the way back in 9th, goes purple, 45.6. That's about 0.2 faster than your leader.
I got to give a big shout out to another IndyCar family member of yours, Artie Carpenter.
Ew.
Working with Team Penske the last 2 years as in a data engineer role. He corrected me back at the Florida Winter Tour, let me know that I was incorrectly calling Dupuis. It's actually Dupuis. Fight for the lead, picks up. Now it's the 236. Turner Brown went from 3rd to 2nd. Now the leader, RPG's Turner Brown, out in front.
Speaking of that, all these drivers probably wish Artie Carpenter is here right now. Give him a little push to pass action, if you know what I mean.
All right, we'll talk about that more on later. Here we go. Turner Brown bringing him down through turns 1 and 2. Sarah Bradley was your early race leader after having a pole position start into the 2nd spot now. Ardiles, Garcia, and Vanchev.
Big move here.
Oh, look at that. Ardiles and Bradley getting side by side through turns 4 and 5. That's going to give the spot now to the 297 of Ardiles. Move Diego Ardiles up to 2nd. See if he has anything for Turner Brown.
So Vanchev, fastest cart on track last lap. Purple lap, 45.3. But everybody's so tight here up at the front of this race. It's an 8-cart breakaway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you had your shoes off so we could count how many carts are up at the front of this field right now.
Hey, man, that weed eater incident when I was 6 was devastating. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, no problem. I thought it was the shark attack growing up in Southern California. Oh, man. Artie Carpenter says, good one, Chris. Good one.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of playing golf with Artie this year. And all I could think about was every time, move for the lead, how about it, Ardiles?
That's all you could think about?
No, all I could think about was every time in the younger days when you used to live on my couch and you would say, Artie Carpenter from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, now he's already carpentered.
Mooresville, North Carolina.
Team Penske, yeah. Look at this. Things are not slowing down. Chris, would you call this a hucklebuck up at the front of the field?
No, not a hucklebuck up at the front of the field. More like 5 squirrels in a sandbag.
Okay. Yeah. You know, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
I've heard that on NBC a few times during an IndyCar race. Turner Brown trying to keep the RPG and his teammates at Speed Concepts all behind him. Pack starts to fan out down the front straightaway. Vanchev, Halfin, Kennedy, and Garcia sort things out. Look at this. Fight for the lead once again. Oh, contact between Turner, Brown, and Ardiles. That's going to open the door for Sarah Bradley. She goes inside for 2nd, then inside again for the lead.
I believe Vanchev also got through now into 3rd spot. So that's going to take Brown, makes not the best decision I've seen all day, to turn number 3, shuffle all the way back to 4th.
What do you think? Oh, man.
How about another one? Vanchev, man on a mission here off of turn number 9. Head down, trying to run down Ardiles now.
See, I wanted to know what your best decision today.
Bradley.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you what the best decision you have seen all day is, but we're not going to have time as aggressively as these ROK GP Junior drivers are racing each other. This class brought to you by our friends at the Rocket Racing Company. Under 3.5 minutes to go now. Bradley looking strong. Edward Kennedy, though, still your fastest kart on track with a 45.148. But these drivers up at the front, Chris, are not concerned with lap times. They're concerned with getting out in front of each other.
Yeah, I mean, this, I don't understand it. And hopefully some of these drivers are going to kind of sit back, relax, gather their thoughts, and build a little bit of momentum, try and catch back up to Bradley here to make this thing interesting, because right now Bradley's starting to drive away.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's what we've talked about all day, and I said it all season during the Florida Winter Tour. You cannot go as fast when you're side by side, trying to outbrake, trying to get back out in front of the driver next to you.
Look, Saito by Saito sounds great when we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Not the smartest thing you can do on a racetrack.
No, here we go. Speaking of side-by-side racing, there's a fight for the 2nd position. Move the 236 of Turner Brown back in front of Alexander Vanchev. Now that's going to be Ardiles and the 297 popping out.
With Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia and Ardiles trying to go a little bit farther.
Got around Turner Brown, it looks like.
Yeah, up inside this top 5. And is that Turner Brown they got around or Vanchev? Because Turner Brown had just made a move from 3rd up to 2nd.
Ah, okay.
And, yeah, it's the 231.
So it was a 201 of Vanchev back to fifth.
Vanchev, 201, 231.
Yeah.
What's it matter, really? When
How about a shout-out to my old-school homies, Soviet and Troyer back at home, Indy, Ohio, kicking back. They just opened a cold beer, and they're loving this.
Well, good. I can't believe Artie Carpenter's still. He's been watching all day, but he's a bit of a karting addict. He loves this kind of stuff. He'll be out in Vegas for the Supernats in just a couple of weeks, and
never heard of it.
Being very busy working that event and helping out. He'll be back with RPG. It sounds like.
Yeah, RPG. They're going to be here with a big group. There with a big group. Front runners in every class they're in, and that's why they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country.
So rest of the field working towards the end here. A minute and a half, just a little bit more than that to go. Sarah Bradley rips off a flyer last time by, 44.996. That allows her to grow the lead to over 7/10 of a second. Let's see what it looks like right here, right now. 44.984 last time by. That's her best lap, Chris, but it's not the fastest lap of the race. That's Diego Ardiles. Her teammate goes 44.793 in the third position.
Yeah, top 5 was once bumper to bumper, now starting to spread out just a little bit. Your favorite thing, mayonnaise on a sandwich. What it reminds me of here. But Sarah Bradley head down on the 258 speed concepts machine.
Field makes their way out of the infield. 45 seconds left in this one before they'll see the 2 to go. Be right to the end of this one before too long. And ROK GP Junior brought to you by Rocket Racing Company. That means we need VLR Senior A versus C. You should be down and on the grid now.
Suited and booted.
VLR Senior A versus C on the grid. Garcia now, your quickest card on the track. Naomi Garcia aboard the 219, 44.724. 1 lap ago it was Ardiles in third. Now it's Garcia in the 4th position. They're all trying to reel in Turner Brown and Sarah Bradley up at the front.
Looking at the clock here, the clock strikes 0. It'll be 2 to go when these drivers get back to the start-finish line. Right now, though, their focus exit shot, turn number 9. Bradley not even looking back anymore.
No.
Just focus forward here. Said that a lot this year on the radio, and that's what we're going to say right here. Focus forward. What's behind you does not matter.
Doesn't matter until it's next to you, and then still
it's still not behind you.
Exactly.
It's still not your problem.
Exactly. 2 to go, being shown by Shaggy here as Naomi Garcia, your quickest card overall. But the top 3 rip off their best laps of the race up to this point. 44.9 for Bradley, 44.7 for Brown, 44.7 for Diego Ardiles. Lap and a half to go. They're all getting tightened up here for one last trip around this ROK Vegas parking lot temp track.
Dupuis and Vanchev started to fall off the gap. It's about a second and a half.
Here we go.
And there comes a move. Brown to the lead. Brown +5 and leaving here.
Now Sarah Bradley has to play defense and stop the bleeding. Sarah Bradley leaves the door open. She's going to lose 1, maybe 2 spots at the end of this lap. She's able to stop and lose only the 3rd position to her teammate Diego Ardiles, but Turner Brown now leads at the white flag.
Through turn number 1, the short shoot now to turn number 2. Carry the momentum. It's going to set you up beautifully for the high braking zone right-hander at turn number 3. Nothing looking here. Nobody's going to move out of their position.
Well, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all teammates, aren't they? Or check that second, 3rd, and 4th are all teammates, aren't they, Chris, from the Speed Concepts tent, as Turner Brown has a little bit of breathing room, but that can all go wrong if he misjudges one braking zone here in the last couple of corners.
Here we go off turn number 9 again. A little peek over the outside shoulder.
Does it again. Does it again.
Big move.
Oh,
right contact.
So close, so close. That opens the door
Whoa.
for Ardiles. Turner Brown carries the momentum through the final 2 corners. Makes sure he's got him, and he does. Diego Ardiles ends up second behind Turner Brown, but ahead of his teammate, Sarah Bradley. Boy, Ardiles gave it almost too much there in the final corners.
Still, it was pretty fun to watch there into turn number 10. That's where we talk about the darkest spot on the racetrack. Hardest spot to see. Boy, oh boy.
Turner Brown gets the victory in the final heat race of the day for Rocket Racing Company, ROK GP Junior. You should consider yourself lucky I memorized that sponsor before the grid went flying there. Nash Motorsports heat race number 2 for ROK VLR Senior. This is going to be A versus C, and this is our last class, but it's our second to last heat race thanks to the split fields they're doing here.
Yeah, A, B, C, and D. 4 grades back in school, Tony, none of which you got.
4. Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, I think there's a 5th one.
Yeah, that was yours.
That's the one that sounded really familiar.
F equaled fun.
You know what Mike Adams' favorite joke is, don't you?
With Mike Adams, there's no telling.
Well, there's a lot that I can't say, but we did the banquet for him last year, I think, and get up there, and halfway through the banquet, Mike goes, hey, you know, I forgot to thank the 5 hardest working people here in the room, and those are the buttons on Tony's shirt. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
goodness.
So
I'm glad you're in a T-shirt today.
Yeah, needless to say, I've been on a crash diet since December, because if I go back and do that banquet for him in December, I'm not letting him say that to me. But also, I don't take as much offense to a guy who needs a step stool to look me in the eye.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Is that why you were so scared of Greg Bell earlier?
Yeah, because I need to look up at him. That's the problem with Greg Bell. There's not a lot of people in this pit area I have to look up to. Greg's one of them.
You can go to Circus and try to win a big teddy bear, but the best thing you can do is just give Greg Bell a hug.
Yeah, like that. Chris Wheeler rocking the new one-of-a-kind grid hat here in the booth, high above the start-finish line, above the parking lot track here at the Rio. 2 heat races left to go, 1 class.
Should we give this one away as a raffle?
Yeah, well, no, I don't know.
Whose number?
This would be tough to. Yeah, we'll find a phone number for that one. ROK VLR Senior brought to you by Nash Motorsports, Heat 2, A versus C. Jesus Vasquez Jr. on the pole, Josh Campbell in the 2nd position. Jose's Carlos Hernandez starts 3rd with Steven Eisert in 4th. Oliver Marak rounds out your top 5. Then it's Nix Eggleston in 6th, Kieran Rogers 7th, Taylor Minch in the 8th position, Alan Eisenbart and Stephen Miller, your top 10. 11th is Christian Carrillo. 12th is Rodrigo Gonzalez. Valen Venkesh is 13th. Gavin Wardle and Jax Small complete the top 15.
Looking for another Taylor Minch Rio extravaganza here. We've seen it all those years ago in the junior division. Excited to have him back here in senior. Ready to see some more action. 3/4 of the field not in their tram lanes. This one's going to be exciting for the stewards.
Yeah, exactly. Rick Folks, Robbie Poupard are licking their fingers as they watch this one. How about the great start there by the 910 of Jose Carlos Hernandez, going from 3rd up to 2nd. Trouble here for the 966, the 951.
That's Gavin Wardle in the 66 and the
951.
I'm looking.
Lydia Small.
Oh,
Lydia
no.
Small. It's okay. I can't do math. You can't read.
It's fine.
We're a match made in heaven.
That's right.
One other cart was involved in that as well, but they were able to drive
The
away.
944. That's an old one.
Yeah, that's, I think, from a previous. No, that would be from this race.
Yeah.
The 944 of Liam Gray.
Liam Gray was like behind the wall already.
Yeah, behind the chain link fence, as lap number 1 is going to come to an end here for our Nash Motorsports VLR Senior. This is their heat number 2, and it's A versus C. Vasquez Jr. shows the way to Jose Carlos Hernandez. Josh Campbell, the off-pole starter, back in the 3rd spot, but very, very close to making a move. Campbell's got to be careful. Nix Eggleston, the driver for Ryan Ruth, right there in the 4th position.
Speaking of Ryan Ruth and that awesome Ruthless karting group, Jensen Altsman, good friend of mine, he was bummed he couldn't make it.
There we go. Look at that. One of his teammates, even though he's not here racing this weekend, Jensen, one of his teammates in Nix Eggleston, makes the move there for 3rd. I love Eggleston's old school flame helmet.
Yeah.
That thing's cool looking.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Top 5 starting to kind of spread out here, get away. Top 6 rather. It was confusing as your leader, Jesus Vasquez Jr., absolutely cruising with a 0.6 of a second lead.
Stephen Miller rips a flyer, 46.636. Nix Eggleston's not done picking him up or putting him down. Eggleston from 4th to 3rd now to 2nd. Those flames on the helmet mean he's hot.
Minch on the charge here. Currently P number 9 for Minch.
You know what's funny? You know what sprint car people hate is saying P3, P5, P10. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah, well, it's because they can't cope quick enough. They can't comprehend quick enough.
Okay. I mean, I just don't think they like the European formula-style road course racing of the P in front of the number.
They also wear their own merch.
But how confusing is it to just think P is position 3? But I digress. Speaking of P3, that was previously held by Nix Eggleston. Now Eggleston ahead 1 spot into 2nd. Just laid down his fastest lap of the race, a 46.7. That's the 926 put moves on the 910. Josh Campbell. Was he able to complete that pass and get around the 910? He was. And the 910 of Hernandez has left the door open and continues to give up spots. You're going to move Hernandez back 2 spots. Campbell and Miller both getting around.
Meanwhile, Vasquez Jr., 0.9 of a second advantage out in front. Nothing seems to be going wrong on that GFC machine.
No, really, really solid laps here, nailing his marks. 46.552 is his best lap. That was his last lap. He's 0.2 of a second quicker.
Who went purple there?
Yeah, purple is Taylor Mintz. Look at that. Were you expecting that?
No.
I think you said something about
maybe
it.
I did.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Maybe you did. Kieran Rogers now takes over fast lap honors thanks to a 46.405. But Chris, what's really impressive, I mean, considering the sun is going down, the track's cooling off, grip's not falling away as quickly. There goes the 979 of Merak around Hernandez. Wow, Hernandez has just had the bottom fall out of this thing in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, not really sure what's going on here for the 910 machine, but it's not ideal.
Started in third, was up as high as second, and now is going to be scored when they come across the line, probably in the 7th position.
Fabio Orsolon starting to scratch his little head.
Hey, Fabio Orsolon smiles every single time he sees me, and there's very few people that do that. So I appreciate Fabio Orsolon quite a lot.
For those of you that are wondering how Tony has the endurance to keep it up today, and I'm pretty sure it was the turkey bacon that he had earlier.
Yeah, the turkey bacon's always the move. But what I was going to say was, what's surprising is, again, another lap here, the front 5 just get quicker and quicker and quicker every lap.
Stephen Miller goes purple on that one. He definitely had some Wake Organic.
Wake Organic.
His partner this weekend.
Turkey bacon, Wake Organic. You had some Wake Organic.
I did.
The guave and the cucumber.
It was really good.
I'm not sure guave is even the right way to say that fruit, but we'll check the thesaurus later tonight. Vasquez Jr. 46.400, 46.498, but it's Stephen Miller, as you just talked about, Chris, going purple last time by. I wonder what Nick Eggleston has got here. The lead 1.1 seconds last time by. Does it grow? Does it shrink?
1.3 now.
Yeah, okay. So everybody continues to stay fast here late in the going. This is Nash Motorsports VLR Senior Heat 2 A versus C. Under 3 minutes left here. It's an 8-minute heat race plus 2 laps at the completion of the 8-minute clock. The 977 here of Stephen Miller's not done either, as he's caught up to the 926 of Josh Campbell, and so much grip is being put down around this track by these Levanto kart tires. Yesterday, drivers and tuners alike raved about the grip they are getting, not just in the original first lap, first session out on the new tires, but they like how it's maintaining. They like the stability they've been getting from the Levanto here in Vegas on a very rough parking lot surface that's got oil and gas on it. So many different compounds of tire rubber and just a myriad. Think about your local parking lot. Is it dirty? Yeah, so is this one. And for the Levanto to perform and give these drivers a consistent platform every single time they go out, that's a rave review, I think, for the tire. And you're seeing laps just stay fast every single trip around here as we get down to the end of this one.
So just under 2 minutes on the clock here, and Vasquez just continues to stretch that lead more and more.
Yeah, just over 1.4 seconds now, or right at 1.4 seconds rather, as he's grown it to a second. 1.3, now 1.4. We'll see what he does here. A 46.3, that's his best lap to this point. The lead grows again from 1.3 to 1.4, now 1.5. Yeah, first place is starting to leave, and second, third, and fourth are doing everything they can to keep up with him. After this, we'll have one more heat race to go. Nash Motorsports VLR Senior Heat 2, B versus D, out onto the track as the sun is nearly completely sunk behind the Rio main tower here.
So as we look here at the battle for second, it looks like Eggleston still has enough to stay in front, Tony, over Campbell and Miller. But Campbell Miller are not going to let him get away.
Eggleston +4 right now in this race after starting in the 6th position. He's up to second right now. And I really do think it's obviously hard work by himself, his team, everybody over there at Ruthless Karting. But I think that helmet paint job is playing a big role in this performance tonight.
2/10.
2/10 every time for a sick helmet paint job.
Yeah, I'm in for it.
He's trying to do his best right now to keep Josh Campbell and Stephen Miller behind him as they bob and weave through the barriers here at the Rio. Vasquez out in front. The rest of your top 5 looks like this. Jose's Carlos Hernandez in 5th, Merak in 6th, Minch 7th, Eisert, Eisenbard, and Rogers. The top 10 here as just over 1 minute remains before the 2 to go signal is shown to these drivers.
20 seconds on the clock here.
Hey, you know who Nash Motorsports has got working for him this weekend? Bonner Moulton.
Of course.
I mean,
another legend.
Bonner's the dude, right? Bonner's a G.
Very old school G.
Yeah, he's awesome. Been cool this weekend in Vegas to see so many folks from when you and I were both a lot more full-time in karting than we are now. And got to see Bonner Moulton. Got to see Andy Saisman walking around.
Yeah.
Got to see you.
I got to see you.
Yeah, I had a great conversation with Gary Carlton. We talked about getting to talk to Ben Cooper. It's been really cool to see some big names. Scott Falcone, saw him out of the corner of my eye.
Big four-cycle guy.
Scott Falcone, I know. Got to see Scott out of the corner of my eye in the hallway yesterday. In the walk from the hotel room to the dinner, wherever I was going.
The only disappointment I have being back at the Rio, Tony, I'm not going to lie.
No, you don't get to have any. You have a suite. You have a suite to yourself.
It's an all-suite. Everybody gets a suite at the Rio. No.
You have a real suite.
My disappointment is the fact the Starbucks moved from the corridor where you walk to the track to the other side of the casino.
Tragic. Really sorry. We're going to Prayer Warriors unite for Chris Wheeler as he deals with that extra 30 seconds of walking to get to his Starbucks.
Pray for Wheels. Hashtag.
Jason, who's helping out with hospitality, what's his last name?
Yours?
So he had a tragedy this morning. He made his Starbucks order on the mobile app in the hotel room, went downstairs, found out it was placed at the Starbucks at Caesars.
Well, should have stayed at Caesars, it looks like.
Yeah, so to save the money, he just Ubered over there to get his coffee because you don't want to lose a $12 coffee in Las Vegas. No, he actually said he'd switched the order to the Rio, and somehow it made the coffee cheaper.
Hernandez goes purple here. And a big way, too. 2/10 clear of the carts around him, and he's joined the back of his group in the 5th spot.
Yeah, now with less than 2 laps to go, the leaders will make their way. I say leaders, it's really the leader. We have not seen a gap grow this big.
This has been the largest margin of victory that we've seen all day long.
1.6 seconds as it stands.
And Jesus Vasquez Jr. has done a fantastic job of that.
Well, it's not the margin of victory yet. It'll be the margin of victory in 1 lap as the white flag is displayed. 1.6 seconds. There's the fight for second. That is a battle that is far from done. 1.8 seconds separate these 4 to the race leader, and Nix Eggleston starting to drive defensively as he hopes to keep everybody else behind him in the 2nd spot.
And I hope that doesn't come back to hurt him here in the end.
Exactly.
They've been doing so good. There's no point in going out of your way to go slower.
Well, and that's unfortunately the problem. You try to get defensive, you cheat corner entry, you get really tight down on the start of the corner, but that just kills your exit speed.
Especially in these 100cc machines.
The 910 and the 977 Stephen Miller and Jose Carlos Hernandez go back and forth with each other.
That was Marak on a move.
Yeah, side by side on the exit of turn number 10. Checkered flag is going to wave, and we almost missed him coming across. Jesus Vasquez Jr. is your winner.
2.144 seconds.
Man, that's a healthy deficit. That's a healthy deficit for Jesus Vasquez Jr. getting the job done in Nash Motorsports. Heat race number 2, that was A versus C. And Chris, you know what that means.
B versus D.
1 more to go.
Uno reso.
You've been away from a long day of karting announcing for a while. How's it going over there? Are you in shape?
Yeah, I think we're doing okay. I'm trying to pace myself.
It's a day, isn't it?
I had the dry air, starting to kind of get to the throat a little bit, but little Pappy Van Winkle later on. Maybe.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, well, we'll make sure we get tuned up for tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a good schedule out here. We've both done karting.
We should have been done by now.
Yeah, we should have, but it's not like we've
had
any more.
But I'm thankful that I'm here with you, watching this beautiful sunset. Over the Las Vegas Strip.
Well, and most importantly, it's not like we've had anything added to our schedule.
No.
We've just had a delay, unfortunately. And,
the good thing is we're currently in hazard pay time.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting paid?
Well, no, I'm just saying. I thought you were.
If we were.
Yeah.
If we were, this would be hazard pay. So, Chris, show us on the screen here. Which room is yours?
Yeah, I can't. It's somewhere on the interior. Not really sure.
Oh, so you don't even have a window?
No.
Oh, that's like a cruise ship where you don't get to see the water.
Yeah, I know.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. The janitors keep talking to me through the people. I don't know.
See, I thought you would be in the O of the Rio up at the top. I thought that was your room.
No, that's the ghost bar.
Oh, Voodoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Voodoo Steak. They've renamed it. It's now Voodoo Steak. Not just the Voodoo Lounge, it's the Voodoo Steak.
Oof.
I figured that's kind of where you've just been eating dinner every night.
Yeah.
Voodoo Steak on the roof.
Actually, I had a good sushi dinner last night here at the Rio with legendary Carter Brian Robson.
Oh, boy. You probably learned a lot.
I did.
Probably learned a whole lot.
And so that's it, man. It's been laying low. It has been nice, Tony, to be back at a go-kart race. I can tell you that. A lot of familiar faces and great racing here. Once again, in the back lot at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino, as we watch this beautiful panoramic view on your screens at home, as the sun starts to set here in Las Vegas on day number 1 of racing action, 2024 edition of ROK Vegas.
See, I think you're so good at this. Mike Burrell and I were going to have a discussion about if I'm coming back for the winter tour or not. I'm going to gracefully bow out and send him the cwheeler@ganassiracing.com email. I think that's the guy that we really want to see.
A, that email isn't a real email, and B, just so you know, I got a little permission from work to come out and do this weekend. I don't think I'm going to be able to take time off when we're preseason testing.
You don't think Chip wants you out here spreading the gospel?
No, he blessed 3 days of it.
Yeah.
Only charged me 4 vacation days, and here we are.
Hey, on a completely serious note, on my flight out here, I got to finish through the Southwest Airlines mobile entertainment app. I got to finish watching Lionheart. And
still haven't watched it.
Oh, wow. I mean, I can understand why, but it's phenomenal. And for just what karting meant to Dan Weldon, and, he came out and took part in the Supernats. And, man, a champion of the sport of karting, Dan was. That was a unique way to come into Vegas, was watching the end of that documentary. They did a phenomenal job on that.
And it's great seeing his kids, right? Sebastian and Oliver.
Because that's what it focuses on, is the boys.
It's great watching them this year. They moved up USF juniors and then with the Skip Barber School, and both kids did a great job. They've got bright futures ahead of them, and it's just another version of what we've seen year after year, generation after generation. Right? It's a second generation of young kids coming through karting here in the States with a big promising future.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's cool how they tie in everything with Dan's career and the boys, and it's really well done. It was cool to watch that coming into Vegas a couple of days ago, and you just know what karting meant to Dan. So he loved this sport, and did some stuff at OGP when you were back there as well, if I remember right. Yeah.
I will say I just noticed something on this triumphant return to a karting weekend. I'm still disappointed. Nobody sponsored the crash wagons.
The recovery vehicle.
Man.
Yeah.
I always thought that those should be brought to you by somebody.
That's the Max Bail Bond recovery vehicle there.
That's Chico's bail bonds.
Yeah, like right there, you'd have a great shot. Put some sponsor decals on the Chico's bail bonds, bringing you the recovery vehicle here this weekend. But there are no sponsors on it, at least not yet.
There's still time, folks.
2 days of racing left to go.
There's still time. So have I got a deal for you? You show up with $200 cash, and we will brand the side of one of the loser cruisers just for you.
We'll talk about it. We'll say it. Hey, right here, we got our producer, our director.
Sorry, we don't take American Express.
I thought it was no, it wasn't American Express we don't take. I thought it was
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
We got all sorts of sponsors coming out here.
Oh, bro, Brian Robson's ripping out the hundreds. Look at
Let's
that.
go. He's not getting them back either.
I was so close to saying the Brian Robson recovery vehicle.
Man, I would have had his face on that thing tomorrow morning.
Man, you're on the recovery vehicle, man.
Jake Brown from K1.
K1 Racing.
Everybody's trying to. Everybody's trying to slide in now. First person with $200 cash that doesn't want it back.
Yeah, who can make their way to the top of the skybox here.
Look, it's a long hike.
Yeah.
26 stories high now as we hit the button to get a little bit higher.
Yeah, I was going to say it started at 20.
Yeah.
And now 26 stories up over the track here.
I'm trying to hold on to every little bit of sunshine I can as I start to chill off.
Yeah, we just keep going higher and higher. Temperature slowly dropping here into the mid-60s as we get ready for the final heat race of the day. It is the Nash Motorsports ROK VLR Senior Heat number 2. This is Group B versus D. Chris, what do you need, the lights on? You having a hard time reading the grid or something?
I was going to have to borrow Robson's readers here in a second. It got so dark in here.
I don't think you're prepared for how thick those glasses are.
They're just readers. I carry them.
No, they're not that thick. They're just, where'd you get those, Brian? Walmart? CVS?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I get my readers at Lowe's because they look like machinist glasses and they're cool looking.
Chris is like, no way people will know I'm old and can't read now. All right, how about it? Chase Hand in the 927 brings Nico Sarfati. They'll share the front row as they come out onto the track here for this final 8-minute plus 2-lap heat race. In Nash Motorsports VLR Senior B versus D, Hand and Sarfati, your front row. Kaminsky and Clayman DeMello, row number 2. Diego Ramos in 5th. Patricio Gonzalez in 6th position. Alex Mercado in 7th. Frankie Mossman in 8th. Frankie Mossman, is he running like quadruple duty?
Oh, man, so that was only his 3rd heat race earlier.
Yeah, Alex Mercado and Mossman share row 4. Kane Martin and Bernal Valverde make up row number 10. Then it's Ethan Williams, Camden Rumanis in 11 to 12. Frederick Manning, Raheem Alabai, and Oliver Calvo make up the top 15. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's
beautiful skyline here from the camera action camera over in turn number 10.
That's a view you normally got to pay for. But here at ROK Cup USA YouTube,
everything's free.
Everything is free.
Like our broadcast.
Our commentary, whether you want to hear it or not. We're getting ready to go racing for the final time on a Friday evening in Las Vegas, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is Nash Motorsports VLR Senior B versus D. Heat race number 2 is underway.
Oh, man, the tram lanes looked a mess once again. 4 wide as we head off. One's backwards.
One is backwards. I can relate. I felt that way in life.
9:34.
Yeah.
Not coming out the best. Let me pull out the readers here.
Meanwhile, Clayman DeMello getting jiggy with it on the inside of turn number 3. Move him from 4th up to 3rd for the Canadian.
I love the gloves, man. It's the only way we can tell some of these kids apart.
Yeah, it's crazy. Clayman DeMello, Danny Formal,
yep.
and one of our drivers in the micro or mini category have those bright green gloves on. It's very easy to pick them out on the track.
I think it's Doan.
Yes, Ethan Doan.
Yeah.
So now the field gets ready to complete lap number 1 here as they make their way around turn number 10. I'll say it again, I was wrong. I thought that would be your big hot spot for passing opportunities. No, it's been turn number 3 here today.
Turn number 3's been sneaky awesome. But the biggest thing that we're trying to find out for the level of awesomeness is can Hand Kaminsky roll out here and keep these GFCs up to the front. We saw Vasquez Jr. Literally put together as good of a race as you're going to get here just a couple on-track sessions ago. And another pileup over here in turn number 3. That looks about 7 carts deep, about like a Walmart parking lot back there, stacked up, nowhere to go.
Yellow flags are out in that portion of the track. Cody Schindel just taking a leisurely stroll through the infield of the track here in the back lot of the Rio. And, you know, Diego Ramos was also very close to being involved in this race back in the morning session when they ran their first go-round of heats earlier today. So I'm also going to keep an eye on that Burrell driver of Diego Ramos, that bright green and orange helmet, as he streaks across the start-finish line. Ramos had a chance to make me look good there. Instead, it's Clayman DeMello who pops out and is going to go for a position. Is he able to go from 3rd to 2nd? He is. Clayman DeMello now up to P2.
And it looks like it was Oliver Calvo. It looks like Sosta, Calvo. Yeah, those are the carts down there in the back that got caught up in that incident.
Yeah, here we go. The readers being tossed in for Chris Wheeler. Man, you look like somebody I know, but I'm not going to say it. Pass the glasses back there. And now Diego Ramos is going to have to get defensive as he has a challenge in the form of Patricio Gonzalez and Frankie Mossman. But what can you say about Clayman DeMello picking him up and putting him down here? But he's going to have to do some serious work as it's a 1.6 second gap to Chase Hand, who just went purple.
5.5 minutes plus 2 laps, Tony. Are you saying it can't be done?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But
no, do you want to wager on this? We're in Vegas.
I do not want to wager on it.
There's no live props on this race.
Hey, listen, I spent the whole summer going
$1.
I spent the whole summer.
$1.
I spent the whole summer going all in with Kubota High Limit Racing, and I know you don't have the dollar to bet. Bet, gang.
Gang.
913. Diego Ramos. Did he? Just
My last dollar.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Diego Ramos is making moves while we're.
I'm saying Clayman DeMello can catch him, and you're saying he can't. Where's your dollar?
I am not saying. I never once said that. I said he's got work to do at 1.6 seconds the gap. Chase Hand goes purple again with a 46.673.
All right, well, I'm taking my dollar back. You didn't take the bet.
He just advanced. He just made the lead bigger. 2 seconds. Are you getting nervous?
No, I don't get nervous at the table.
2 seconds. Hey, Coach Jason Brown from Last Chance, you said scared money don't make money.
That's right. Hey,
you can't.
Clear eyes and full heart, can't lose.
I don't think he said that. I think that was the
Friday Night Lights coach.
Friday Night Lights or
Mossman with a big move here.
Rudy perhaps. Yeah, that was the 901 of Frankie Mossman going after Keegan Kaminsky. Nash Motorsports VLR Senior B versus D. What a way to end the night of racing here on a Friday.
Beautiful shot every time here in turn number 10.
Vegas, man, they always roll out the red carpet for the go-kart drivers when they come into town.
Reminds me of Goodland, Indiana.
It's here. It's here. for the karting and that rodeo that takes place the 1st of December, the NFR. That's going to be a good time out here. Here we go.
You want to come back to that?
I would love to come back. Let's get our tickets for the NFR right now. That is Diego Ramos around Zachary Clayman DeMello. Ramos from third.
That's the first time all day we've seen Clayman DeMello passed.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've seen Zachary Clayman DeMello make lots of moves, but now he has to give way to the Burrell driver in the 913. That's Diego Ramos. And he's going to try to do his best to set sail here. The lead has grown to nearly 2.5 seconds. Sarfati is the quickest car on track with a 46.397. But as Clayman DeMello, Ramos, and Sarfati all battle, and Chase Hand is able to just put in work here, let's see what the lead looks like now. 2.7 seconds.
Should have put your dollar on the table, Tony.
That's longer than I stayed in college.
Yeah, we know. We know. We still get calls.
So do I. So do I, unfortunately. 46.397, Sarfati 2 laps ago was your quickest kart on track.
I'm hoping maybe we can get a camera shot of the mechanic stand so we can see Joey Hand right now.
Just losing his mind.
I would love to see not just the mechanical stance, but also the father figure stance as Chase Hand absolutely roping him here in the final race of the day.
Yeah, Joey Hand, not a cooler guy, I think, in big-time American motorsports. Joey Hand is just someone who's done so much, but still is just a cool guy about it at the end of the day. And something tells me watching your kid fly around a racetrack, whether he's running away with it or struggling, it's still a nerve-wracking feeling.
Well, Joey Hand talked to him a little bit earlier on when Vassar showed up. We kind of all got together and we're chatting for a minute, and Joey said he's actually been training a little bit harder, not just for the Ford Mustang GT3 that he drives in the IMSA WeatherTech Series, but Joey Hand, I think, is trying to get back in karting shape just so he can be back here racing in Vegas next year.
You don't watch his Instagram stories very well then, because he's been out in that kart a lot working with Chase.
Yeah, but there's one thing to be out there working with a kid. He's coming back competitively.
Oh yeah, but he's been getting seat time is what I mean. And it's great to see Chase out here getting laps in and getting faster and faster every time it feels like he hits the track. Hand clicks off another lap. It's a 46.569, and his lead is now starting to level off right at 2.7 seconds over Diego Ramos.
Parker DeLong, fastest race lap so far. Not this lap, but the time before on lap 7 was a 46.285, 46.285.
DeLong teaming up with Ryan Ruth. He's another one of the ruthless drivers, and talked about MX5 already once in the broadcast. DeLong has run a bunch of MX5 Cup races earlier this season. Didn't see him at the Martinsville show, but he's had a lot of fun.
Did you have one about track dogs? Did you have hot dogs?
Oh, did I have one of the track
dogs?
How was
it?
I had 6.
Oh, man.
I had 6 of those Martinsville hot dogs. And
Benny Parsons always said this track has the best food.
Oh, man. They're $2 a hot dog. You're losing money if you don't buy a few.
I mean, a little bit pricier than Costco, though.
I don't care. I'm not going to Costco to watch racing. That's all I'm saying.
Well, choice is yours.
And inside of...
Here comes another move now. Mossman to the bottom of Clayman DeMello. Mossman trying to take some of that experience today and pay it forward. Clayman DeMello back to the bottom.
Yeah, Clayman DeMello.
That's going to let Sarfati back in it.
Yeah, Clayman DeMello answers back there on the inside of turns 4 and 5. Clayman DeMello, I think, is now trying to kind of outdrive some setup on that cart. It came in a little too early, I think.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to battle and keep what he can behind him with just a two-lap window really left to go here.
Yeah, 30 seconds on the clock. They're not going to get it at the stripe this time, so let's call it 3 to go here.
So Clayman DeMello, good shot right there as Mossman in the 930, then that's Sarfati. They go way down to the inside of the front straightaway. Yeah, Clayman DeMello getting very aggressively defensive here.
If he's not careful, he's going to end up 7th.
Yeah, you're exactly
Hold on!
Oh, contact right behind him as that was Sarfati. Yep.
Eye-sighted now on the curb.
Oh, boy. That was it. I think Clayman DeMello got on the brakes because he was tight on entry.
Well, and he was kind of defensive a little bit there on the bottom, and the rear end started to hucklebuck a little bit. Sarfati had nowhere to go right into him.
Yeah, exactly. So the days of our lives.
But what it did, Mercado, Valverde, and Gonzalez now back in the picture to the back bumper of Mossman.
Yeah, but ultimately this doesn't change anything for Chase Hand, your race leader.
Chase Hand so far gone in this one.
2.7 seconds at the line here. Let's see if that grows or shrinks at all.
2 laps remaining here. Tua
barely drops to 2.6 seconds. And, boy, we're right up against the daylight here.
Yeah, we weren't going to be able to go another 5 minutes, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's funny. the cameras are doing a really good job at showing you, but they're still creating a little bit more light. It's getting pretty dark out here as we wrap things up.
Yeah, I truly don't think we had 5 more minutes worth of track time here. You know, in the tree stand in Indiana last week, I'd call this prime shooting light.
Well, these camera shooters working with us are probably thinking the same thing, prime shooting light as well, as they make their way around.
I think we saw Hannah Zeller from our hospitality VIP crew doing a selfie a little bit ago. What do they call that? The golden hour?
I believe so. Yeah, you've got golden hour, you got blue light in the morning, and but you can never pass up an opportunity to make content. Is what I always believe.
That's what I hear. Meanwhile,
that's what I hear.
The final circuit here for young Chase Hand.
White flag has been displayed. Chase Hand. We can't even get him and the rest of the field almost on the same front straightaway in the shot because his lead is just under 3 full seconds to Diego Ramos in second place.
Everything else kind of leveled out here. Hand ran his fastest lap of the race on the second to last lap.
Yep, so as Chase makes his way down the back chute one final time, Diego Ramos can only sit back and maintain as he's also on an island all by himself in P2.
And you want to talk about it, though. These track conditions the last 45 minutes have been very different than anything we've seen all week long.
Very.
And now we've got separation of carts.
Yeah, checkered flag waves. Chase Hand scores the final heat race victory of the night here on a Friday evening. Nash Motorsports VLR Senior Heat B versus D. Chase Hand gets the job done. Diego Ramos ends up 2.5 seconds back.
Whoa!
P2. What'd you see?
What happened to Clayman and Mello on the last lap? Fell to 9th.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that defensive driving we saw possibly could have come back to bite him.
My, oh my.
Diego Ramos in second, Frankie Mossman third, Mercado up to fourth, Gonzalez fifth, Valverde sixth, Kane Martin seventh, DeLong, Clayman DeMello, and Camden Rumanis complete the top 10 here, but they all chased Chase Hand across the line.
Tony Laporta, it has been both an honor and a privilege to join you here for day number 1 of Racing Action.
I know these camera guys are probably taking their stuff down as we speak, so let's wrap it up. For Chris Wheeler, I'm Tony Laporta. Day 1 of on-track action for ROK Vegas is now complete. Join us tomorrow morning back here on the ROK Cup USA YouTube live page for free. We're heading inside. You guys have a good night.